podcast where the hosts will banter for a little while.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, welcome.
Oh
to
wait,
the
we have a
thing."
show.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean we're recording? Oh
Simon
shit.
wanted to put in his 2 cents. He's a part of this now.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Hey,
He's a part of the lore.
you're loud.
You're very loud. You're a loud boy.
Get down.
Such a loud boy.
A boof.
Simon! I yelled at Simon when you went out to get food the other day. I was like, Simon, stop. And I was like, he can't hear me. He's got earbuds in.
That's right, as you said, airbuds.
Yeah, I can never remember the real name for him, but Airbud seemed appropriate considering, he's a dog.
That's his name, Airbud.
Yeah. There's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball.
True. Or hockey, or baseball, or any other
sport, yeah.
I wonder if any leagues legitimately added a clause after Airbud
I was
came
just gonna
out.
say. I was just gonna say, did anyone be like, yo, we can't have an Airbud situation here? That dog is unstoppable.
But no, how much he'd be worth in the American League, though.
Right? A free agent, he'd take so much money. I did finish right before we went live, or right before we started setting up. I did finish all of Comedy Bang Bang.
Nice.
It ends well. So as goofy as Comedy Bang Bang is, it actually has an ending.
Mm-hmm.
No spoilers, but they actually resolve some stuff.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember. But actually, now that I think about it, I need to mark where my girlfriend and I left off on Netflix because it's leaving.
Yeah.
And then so that way I can remember. Because we watched we're in season 3 somewhere. We watched Steven Yeun and a couple other ones, and that's how I know I can mark it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why I'm not seeing it because
Oh no, midnight. Internet's cruddy, it's always loading. Oh no! Fix it, internet, fix it!
Yeah.
Be better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it ends based on what you've told me of the podcast and everything, it ends very well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird to say about that type of a show. Where there's there's kind of through lines and some larger plot elements, but not really.
Yeah, exactly.
It's impressive that they kind of acknowledge that and then also go into something else.
Yeah.
It's real good. But how's everybody doing?
Doing good. Oh, okay.
Could complain, but who would listen?
Me.
I mean,
a licensed therapist for money.
Well, yeah.
Oh my god. So I was talking to my psychiatrist office, right? And I mean, everybody knows they're already out for your money. It's pretty common knowledge that they are. But I was talking to him because, I'm going to reapply for my FMLA. I'll fill you in later, Fish.
Okay.
And $35 a page.
What?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Technically, my a page of the every page of FMLA you have to fill out,
or to
for him to fill out. Yeah, it's $35. Now,
how many pages is it?
I don't know. I don't have.
Do they make it up? Do they set the number of pages? Is it an arbitrary number? Okay.
I just can't remember.
Well, that's
how many
good.
Pages it is. Yeah, I can't remember how many pages it is, but technically, my previous therapist, the one we had where we used to live, that I went to all the time, she also charged, but she didn't charge me. It's just something that they have to make them available of. Yeah, so I'm just the fuck?
That is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I get it, but damn.
Oh my god, a lizard just scared the living shit out of me. I looked over and there's just something sitting on my wall, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I'm about to just break everything."
Oh
And
Lord, it's a
tiny
lizard.
gecko. It's a little tiny gecko. It's all good. I'll.
Well, hey, we've had our first jump scare of the evening. That seems like a good way to segue
Yay.
into tonight's monologue.
Like, I feel like if you didn't see my face on that, it would have been fucking hilarious because I looked over and I did the slow.
Well, anyway, welcome everyone to Spookshow Syndicate episode 6. Yeah, you got 6 episodes, 6 months, 6 episodes. It's like half a year, even though we're only in the 5th month. That's because we had a super long October episode back last November. So keep up. Go to the YouTube channel.
That was the pilot.
Yeah, go to the YouTube channel. I've considered calling it episode 0, but fuck it. Whatever.
What?
2 years from now, we'll do like a proper episode 0 and make it all weird and crappy and shit. Just because we can. But, I mean, I'm excited. Alien movies. I've loved them since I was a kid. So let's start out with a probably well-known but still really cool anecdote. You know in Aliens, when Hudson quips to Vasquez that somebody said alien and she thought they meant illegal alien and she signed up? That's true. Jeanette Goldstein, who plays PFC Vasquez in Aliens, had no idea that it was going to be a sequel to the sci-fi horror flick Alien. She thought it was going to be an immigration-themed movie, and showed up to the audition in heels and makeup and with her hair down to her waist.
Oops.
But she was a gymnast, and in the best shape of her life at the time, and the blouse she wore didn't have any sleeves, so they saw how muscular she was. They actually weren't even sure if she was an actress or a bodybuilder. They had to ask her. Anyway, it was enough for them to invite her back for another audition. She wore more character-appropriate clothes, pulled her hair back, and got the gig. Wait, what? What's that? Really? You're telling me we're doing an alien-themed horror movie month and we're not covering Aliens? The greatest action sci-fi horror flick of all time? God damn it. So Alien movies. I've loved them since I was a kid. Aliens were the zombies of the 90s. You had X-Files, you had Independence Day, you had supposedly real alien autopsy footage from the Roswell incident. It was nuts. Aliens were scary. Buzzing around in their fancy flying saucers, abducting drunken rednecks and molesting cattle. In fact, the cattle usually wind up coming out a lot worse for wear in alien-attributed incidents. You heard a lot about cattle mutilations. Worst thing you heard happening to an abducted drunken redneck was a little backdoor pokey. But I ain't a cattle, so the backdoor pokey was a little scarier to me growing up. Because we all know alien abductions equals anal probing. Makes you wonder what those intergalactic spacefaring creatures are all about. Are they planet-to-planet proctologists? If so, I'd hate to see the copay on that visit. Maybe it's not a probing at all, just a plugging. Maybe these aliens got sick and tired of beaming up Billy Ray from his little fishing boat, only to have him immediately shit all over their fancy transport room in fear. Blip-blop! I'm sick of all the shitting! We still haven't gotten the stench of it out of the exam room since we beamed up that rancher carving up that other rancher's cows in the middle of the night. You gotta do something. So they did. They grabbed a little bit of metal doodad and just ploop right up the poop chute. Or maybe it's neither of those things. Maybe the aliens that come to visit our planet are just like the majority of the people they wind up abducting. That's right, space rednecks. Hunting out people in the woods a few tall boys into the night. As the blinding light from above shines down on them, and they're drawn upwards into the spacecraft, they hear a little melody. Is that banjo music? And then bam, they're up on the ship, completely naked and covered in bacon grease, and some little green man is yelling at them to start squealing like a pig. Or maybe the aliens of the 90s were just time travelers from the near future, doing what they could to prepare us for the inevitable emphasis on butt stuff that would come in the new millennium. Who the fuck knows? Let's talk about some alien horror flicks. From 1993, we have Fire in the Sky, the true events of a real-life abduction where a happy-go-lucky dum-dum is out in the woods with a few of his buddies when a UFO shows up. He gets out of the truck to go poke the UFO with a stick, and hijinks ensue. From 1998, we have The Faculty, The story of Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters, but with way more 10 Things I Hate About You melted into it. From 2013, we have Under the Skin, wherein a creepy alien dresses up like Black Widow from the Marvel movies and lures unsuspecting horn dogs into her dilapidated house/spaceship with a trippy Sarlacc pit in it. And from 2014, we have Alien Abduction, the totally real, I assure you, found footage of a dysfunctional family trying to get their groove back by taking a camping trip in the mountains, only to be harassed by a group of aliens who only hate one thing more than dysfunctional families: birds. So fuel up your rocket boosters, kids, and make sure you voided your bowels before stepping on the ship, because I am not cleaning that mess up again. We're in for some terror from the skies. Hey, look at that.
Oh my god.
We're in.
We are
good.
How are you? I already asked, but whatever, I'm doing it again. It's a professional show with professional people.
Full of burrito, but pretty good. Enjoying, well, now pretty much the last of this here coffee, but it'll, pep me up.
Yeah.
Chicken. I'm full of chicken.
I thought you were calling kettle a chicken.
No, I don't ever use chicken as a derogatory term. Like, those jerks can jack you up.
Now all I can think about is masturbation.
I mean, now or like always and forever?
Yeah, pretty much always and forever. It's always on my mind. So anyway, guess we can just jump into Fire in the Sky, a movie that features 0 acts of masturbation. I'll have you know. I looked. There weren't any.
I checked.
I checked. What order are we going in? Fish, this was your pick. You can start.
Okay. I'm okay about going first this round because I feel like my notes are prepared. Like, not that they weren't before, but still, like, I feel like I did better this time. So, like, being based on a true story,
I'll have you know it's very real.
I was gonna I was gonna ask, did anyone actually do like any research to look into the actual
So
story?
I've heard his interviews with him on like old episodes of Coast to Coast. Like it's kind of like Whitley Strieber's story. It's kind of, you can't. It's hard to prove anything really, but
right.
Like, it's one of those. Well, I guess he made more money off of it, but like a lot of people who end up talking about UFOs and making that like a big thing in their life, like they end up it ends up ruining their life more often than not. Like it's not like you go, I'm gonna make big bucks because I saw something weird. Like,
and it kind of shows that in the movie too. So like, so real story. It's based off of Travis Walton. So like, again, I had watched it before and didn't realize I watched it when I picked it. And I was like, cool, movie I've never seen before. Let's watch it. Totally watched it a couple months ago, but whatever. Watching it this time around, I understood it a lot better because I was completely sober. So
that does help, I've found. For all I know, Resident Evil Extinction is an absolute dog shit of a movie, but I was totally blitzed the one time I saw it, so it was amazing.
And I was like, other than the ones unlike the other ones that we've picked for this month, I mean, there's a lot of the usual tropes of what I would expect out of like an alien-based movie, like radios messing up when the activity was going on, a huge light that attracts people like moths toward it. This one uses it, and it's so effective. And the last time I watched this too, I remember during the abduction, I was just a little tense, like when he first gets abducted. And then later on, when you see down the road where he's actually in the pod, like I was so tense, especially when he comes up on that one guy who's already been dead for a while. But I was like, I don't know what it is. Like maybe it's the shape of the UFO, or the colors that look like molten lava as it's coming down, but it made things so believable that I got tense. And one question I had about this movie, because there's two movies I have a question on for you guys. And this one, how many of you guys ever took a lie detector test?
I have
Never.
not, and I never would.
It's not reliable.
Yeah, it's not.
Well,
It's
reliable.
not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not court admissible because you can get false positives. You can fake
Correct.
it out and shit like that. Although, wait, take it back. He did stumble upon a corpse in the alien ship that we saw, didn't he?
He did.
That wasn't okay. I have to update Fire in the Sky score. I have it set for kills 0, but yeah, you're right. There was a corpse in that fucking ship. Thank you.
And how many more were there? Because all you can see, like, around him, there were dead pods, and his was the only one that was like pink and living.
Yeah.
I had to take a lie detector test in my life before. I had to take a polygraph. It was back when I worked at the zoo and somebody stole money, so they were interviewing everybody, and they basically asked me if I was okay with taking one. I did.
And this is how she knows they can be beaten.
No, that's what I was gonna say though, is because of that reason that you said, like, you know, they're not passable because they're so unreliable, but they can be implicating. They're just not allowed to be used in a court of law.
Yeah.
But you can build a case off of it in trial. But basically where they're doing that, like, I've been through that before. I know how nerve-wracking that actually is, even when you know you're telling the truth. Like, it's friggin' nerve-wracking. And then just to speak on the realty again, is the scene where they're looking for Walton just reminds me of that same exact feeling, like after, like, you lose someone, whether it be to death or whatever, but it's amplified by 1,000. And that you're nervous and you hope you'll find them or be able to ever see them again. And I don't know if that's playing off of, like, all the true crime that I've been listening to with all the cold cases lately, but honestly, like, this movie brought that forth. And the guy who plays Walton is so good at that role. I thought, like, he exudes violation, fear, PTSD in such a real way that I was just like, oh, like, you can recognize it, but it's just something he does well. And I read a lot about the reviews for this. Like, well, obviously when it first came out, like, it was highly reviewed, but later on down the road, like, people dropped off on it and things like that. And it was mostly because they didn't go into the alien abduction scene enough. And I'm like, but they did. Like, that was enough for me because I was gritting my teeth throughout that whole thing while he was going through the pods.
Oh yeah, it's a very intense scene, but like it takes probably 80% of the movie before you even get there, and it's like, I remember so my memory, because I saw this movie, I don't know if I saw it in the theaters, but I definitely saw it like in the time it came out,
right?
And I remember the alien abduction like scene when you see up on the ship, like, being very, like, it's the most memorable part of the movie. Watching it this time, I'm like, it's really only like 3 minutes. Like, there's really not that much.
Not a big part of it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of alien UFO stuff in this alien UFO
drama,
movie.
But
it really does.
I don't think it in a bad way, really.
No. But it was definitely, it was surprising going back to it and being like, there's really not, like, there's that the scene of him getting struck by the light so that they could get that amazing movie poster. And then there's the really intense alien spaceship footage, like, for 2 minutes at the end, and it's like, that's really all you get. But it's effective.
I wonder, Kettle, because you know more about this movie and his story than I do. Like, do you think that, like, they did that because it's based on something that's actually happened to someone? Because all the other stories are fiction, obviously.
Yeah.
I'll have you know, Alien Abduction said it was based on actual.
That was U.S. Air Force footage. Yeah.
No, it was some autistic kid's camera that they found.
Well, right.
Thank you very much.
But then, you know,
the Air Force, like, they're like, we copyrighted it.
But I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it was based off his stuff, but I'm also sure that it was Hollywooded up some. Like, they gotta make it. They gotta bring in the draw. But, like, No, I mean, overall, I liked how they covered that, and even the drama part of it was pretty great. I mean, it's our first dose of Robert Patrick for the night, which I didn't even realize until I sat down to watch Fire in the Sky last night. I was like, oh, again.
I forgot he was in this. I was like, that was my first note of all the notes. I was like, between this and The Faculty, we have a mini Robert Patrick month, and I'm actually really happy about that.
Right. I mentioned that to, I don't know where I mentioned it to you the other day, where I was like, oh shit, Robert Patrick is in this movie too?
Yeah. And it's like one of the
play ignorant and go, which one was Robert Patrick?
He was the guy. He was the main guy that didn't get abducted. He was the guy that was trying to support his family.
Football coach in The Faculty.
Yeah, the football coach in The Factory. He played T-1000. He's had a bunch of different other roles. He was in Chuck. He was in
the X-Files later season.
He was in he was in the second From Dusk Till Dawn movie. He was like some random villain of the week, I think, in Chuck.
So was it recently, or have I seen that season?
You've seen it, yeah. Okay. I think you even pointed him out. You're like, oh, hey, it's that guy. Yeah. I'm like, that's Robert Patrick. And you're like, oh, yeah.
I never remember his name.
I fucking love Robert Patrick, so I saw him pop up again. I was like, oh, yeah, cool. Like,
and it's him playing like a normal, decent guy, which you never see from Robert Patrick. He's just like an average dude.
I felt for Mike that whole fucking movie. I'm like, he's just trying to work. Leave him alone.
And the hair at the end with the cowboy hat and the beard.
That was like UFO Brokeback Mountain moment. Like, those guys were bromancing. It was beautiful.
Besties.
Let's go open up a used motorcycle dealership together.
I absolutely love that. He showed that in the beginning. It looks like a child's drawing. He's like, "Oh, I'll put that in the fridge for you, Travis." Like,
well, that was kind of his character up until like coming back from the abduction. Like he was basically just like a child.
Right.
Yeah.
Both in terms of his outlook on life and then also in terms of just like, I feel his intellect.
Well, riding his motorcycle on the sidewalk.
Yeah, like, it's like, oh, look at this lovable, charming goofball.
Yeah,
but at the same time, God, is he dumb.
And he delivers his girlfriend donuts to her window, like shit.
Yeah, by climbing up the roof. I was so thankful. I was so thankful when they finally, like, because I'm like, who the fuck is this woman? Living with Robert Patrick and his family, I'm like, is this like...
You're just like, it's my sister. Like,
yeah,
okay.
I was like, thank fuck, because I thought it was like his 16-year-old daughter, man, and that was going to be real weird.
Yeah. You want to date my logging buddy? But, he definitely had the childishness to him, but... I have in my notes here, I enjoyed when they're at first being interviewed and there's that scene with him and the guy that was always wearing the bandana and they're just like, having the stare down with the chainsaw and he's talking like, we're just having a bit of fun. It's like, yeah, nothing like threatening a man's life with a chainsaw just for a bit of fun.
Right?
Like,
well, isn't that like how you guys have fun up in Indiana or wherever? The Midwest?
First of all, that was in Arizona. Like,
were they in Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the West. The Midwest.
I mean, look, it's the Southwest, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, so they do things differently in the Southwest, is what you're saying.
Presumably, I've never been.
Oh, all right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We have our share of fun shit here too, but
doesn't involve chainsaws.
Less chainsaws. No, I guess sometimes chainsaws. We're more of just like the destructive fun, less the violent fun. Like,
oh, okay. Or the impending violence, the threat of violence.
Yeah, shooting
bodily harm,
that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice thing. I liked at the very beginning when Mike is driving and the lights come down on like his truck and it's like, oh, you thought it was UFO, but it was a train. Because it was just the lights on the barrier going down.
How many UFO sightings are actually just trains?
Yeah, I don't know, but
somebody with beer goggles on, it's like, it's a UFO. No, it's just the 310 to Yuma.
Right.
Neff?
A Fire in the Sky? I mean, it was a lot more in capturing. Is that even a word?
It
It
is
could
now.
be.
Yeah, I know,
You
right?
used
It
it.
was a lot more enthralling than I expected it to be. And I don't know why I expected it to be that way. I assumed it was an older alien abduction film, so it was gonna be really fucking cheesy and really,
Hmm.
really bad, is what I was expecting. And then watching through it, and I'm like, oh shit, this is actually like really fucking good. The acting was top notch. I was very uncomfortable for a majority of it. Um, and like they have the trauma from it pretty spot on. Like, how he's interacting from it. Now, I don't know if he would have, I guess it depends on the person as to if he would have made like a complete 180 like that, to where he's like, I'm gonna have kids, and I'm gonna marry this lady, and I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to at the end of it. I don't know, because I don't know, personally, if I were to have gone through something like that, I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to bring in a kid into a world where they could potentially get probed, and like, how do I know they don't have a tracking thing in my anus now? Like,
Yeah.
A giant satellite dish, if you will.
yeah. Like, and who's to say that they're not going to take my kids because they've studied me, so now they're going to study my generational, like, you don't know how fucking aliens work.
Plus, they stuck a needle like real close to his eye.
They
Yeah,
did.
that was something I had
didn't
written down. It's like eye
that.
torture before it was cool. Looking at you, Dead Space 2.
For
And
some,
then they also like kind of squirted some weird
First
cum
of
looking
all-
stuff in his eyes. Like,
yeah.
First of all,
Like, to blind him
Fulci
for
Fulci
temporary.
did eye torture first.
Oh yeah, Fulci. Dude,
And
okay, so mini side tangent on the
No.
topic of the meme of my plans and then 2020.
mm.
The most horror in-joke version of that I've ever seen so far was my plans, and it was a picture of like an eye, a real close up on an eye, and then 2020 was a picture of Lucio Fulci. Which is funny because Lucio Fulci was a godfather of gore, predominantly known for doing incredibly realistic gore effects of things puncturing eyes in extreme close-ups.
Mm.
Yeah. He made me discover I don't like things coming at my eye, and this is why LASIK will
I think
never
it's pretty
probably
pretty
happen.
normal.
Yeah, so much so that I had a phantom. The fuck do they call it? Where you implant fake memories, and you're like, no, this totally happened, and then you go back and look. The Bernstein Bear effect thing.
Mandela effect.
Mandela effect. I have a Mandela effect with this movie where I swear to God, I remember when I originally saw it. I remember the needle going into his eye, and rewatching it. No, you don't see that at all.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Reading something on the Mandela effect. Sorry.
What's that?
I was just reading something about the Mandela effect yesterday.
Were you, or did you just like Mandela effect?
I
That you
was
were?
actually reading about it.
But like, it was just really well portrayed out of any of them. Like, say if they all had the slap of true story, it definitely is the one that I would find most believable.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, like, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was a much better experience than what I expected. And now I realize that I also watched Robert Pattinson.
Patrick.
Robert
Patrick.
Pattinson.
Pattinson was the Twilight guy.
Yeah.
Listen.
Hedrick the Angry Inch Diggory. That's Robert Pattinson.
There we go. He looked different, in my opinion. Like, between the two movies, he's a little bit of a chameleon. I didn't even recognize that it was the same person.
He's the most chameleon-like probably in Fire in the Sky.
Well, yeah, because of the hair and the hat.
Yeah.
Like, all the time.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
that,
say,
like,
'cause I was
that
like-
goatee.
Yeah.
I was like, he's not bad looking in the Faculty. I would not touch him with the 10-foot pole in the fucking Fire in the Sky.
Well, yeah, because he's a married man with children. And
Well, not anymore, remember?
maybe a daughter sister. Oh, that's he's available.
I mean, it is. Oh, I was going to say it's Arizona. Never mind. I can't say, well, it is Alabama. But never mind.
It is.
A hard-working gentleman who was
It
just trying
is-
to keep his home alive.
It is Statesville, United States. That is where the movie takes place.
Takes place in the trees.
In the
They'll cut
trees.
them trees down.
Let's be real though. That movie took
Okay.
place in the backwoods of British Columbia.
Mm.
Because it's cheap to film up there. And they got so many trees.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
it's.
gotta find out.
I actually would be curious if that was British Columbia.
Oakland.
Oakland?
Oakland and Oregon.
Oregon makes sense. Yeah, close to British
Oakland
Columbia.
and Oregon.
Oh, so not Oakland, California. I was gonna be
No,
like,
no,
really? Maybe on a soundstage, but I didn't know they had sound stages
Yeah, I
in
was gonna
Oakland.
say that tiny ass little town like Snowflake, Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it was in Oakland, but it was also in Roseburg, Sutherland, and Idlewold. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but Idlewold Park in Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
which is apparently the
Something
restaurant.
Norwegian?
Something.
Yes.
Oaklandish.
Oaklandish? Oaklandia? Starring Fred Armisen.
And Robert Patrick.
And Robert Patrick as the sheriff.
I thought he was cute though. I mean, I can't. His eyes, like they kill me.
He
He's got
has
such a
some
beautiful
great
face.
eyes. But yeah, it's like I enjoyed it. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as I did when I watched it when I was younger. But it's still like really good. Like it's weird though. It's like a weird type of movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole thing is really, it feels like a segment from Unsolved Mysteries. Only it's just the reenactment part, but the reenactment, they like actually got real actors and a budget for it. Which makes it
during the whole movie, just at the bottom it just said dramatization.
Dramatization, yeah. It would have really like at that point you just have the Mila one, the Fifth Kind. Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Fifth Kind. That was the Mila.
Yeah, the weird Mila Jovovich alien abduction movie, which at the very beginning of the movie, Mila Jovovich as herself walks out and talks to the audience and says, "This is a dramatization," interspersed with interview footage from the real people. And no, it's all bullshit. The interview stuff is also fake. So you're seeing this cutaway between like two women playing the same character, and the Mila Jovovich part is just like full on. Just it's like, yeah, it's fake. Like this is a fake dramatization from these interview subjects' accounts who are also fake and actors. It's the weirdest movie. So it's kind of like that, only like they didn't do the hokey thing of saying like, yes, this is a dramatization, these are all actors, and now we're gonna put on a little play for you.
It kind of reminds me, like now that you said that, it would have made sense if they did that too, because like right around that same time, like Emergency 911, that television show got really big. And they had that.
Rescue 911.
Rescue 911. It was. I remember that.
Shatner.
I remember. Oh my god! I forgot about that.
Flash, like this is a dramatization of what actually happened. But that was around like 90 to 94 or something.
It was.
Like that.
Yeah, there was a clip in that in an episode of that was actually based on a story where I grew up.
Oh really? Shit!
And they did the dramatization, and I was like, "Oh wow!" Like,
dude,
I only saw it once on TV though, and like I tried to find it online or something. I've never been able to find it, but if I ever did, I would shit myself. I'd be like, "What? Like that's insane!" Like
up until
it was like a kid not attempted drowning, but like almost drowned, or like they were out swimming in the river, and it was like, "Oh no, they almost drowned, but they saved him, yay!" Like one of those,
right? God, I completely forgot about Rescue 911.
Yeah, that was a fun show.
Yeah, I used to watch that all the time growing up, and I completely blocked it from my memory for some reason. But yeah, so the only thing that I remember because like even up to including like the end of the movie, it did have the post credit like, or not post credit, but like pre credit like text crawl of like, and then this is what happened. Which I think, doesn't it just say that like they went back and they retook the lie detector test and this time they all passed.
Yeah.
I was
And
waiting.
about the family.
I was waiting for because like they've got the dickhead like federal marshal guy who gets sent in, and then when he's leaving, he's skeptical as all hell, and he's leaving, and he's like, one of these days, one of them boys is gonna slip up. And I'll be right back here. I was waiting for the text crawl of like, and Deputy Dipshit never came back to, you know, Bumbleweed, Minnesota, or wherever. Like, I was waiting for that text crawl and they didn't give it to me. I'm like, come on, man. You set that up. You had it set up perfectly and you didn't pay it off. But, and again, yeah, the movie gets extra bonus points. Not actually, well, unless we make it a category at some point. But it does get extra bonus points for me for having, like, one of the most iconic movie posters ever. Like, have you seen the poster for this? Like, it's amazing.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. It's basically just a shot of him caught by the light and, like, being, like, half pulled up. Like, it's an amazing poster.
I would agree.
What's that?
I don't know that there's always that reaction, like when you see someone respond to a dead person, is it just shot off and left him at first? And I was
They
like,
just left.
Their
Nope.
fucking friend dead on the road.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like a hit and run. It was like space aliens zapped him. I'd get the fuck out of there. I mean, sorry, Billy Ray, you're on your own. You're the dumbass who got out of the truck, went to poke the aliens with a stick. What the fuck?
About it for a second, he's like, "Oh wait, we gotta go back for our friend." And Diesel or whatever the hell his name was like, "Nah, he ain't my friend."
Also, you might like to know you actually can buy the movie poster for this on Walmart.com.
Hey.
Looks like it's through a third-party seller, but either way, it's like kind of just like, oh wow, that's kind of neat.
Yeah. You can you can get like pretty much any movie poster you want from somewhere online. I know because I own many of them. I need a house full of walls to properly display them all.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I need just like one MC Escher inspired never-ending hallway, just to hang up all the posters.
By the way, speaking of said movie things, I remember you mentioned to me a while back that you had like that Independence Day thingy display.
Oh
thingy.
yeah.
Yeah, girlfriend kind of shot that one down, so that's probably not gonna
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Wait, what was it?
I was like, yeah. I can
Our
see
Independence Day stand-up marquee cardboard thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. Like,
I was like, yeah, you got a point.
But, it was one of those like, it's here. I mean, I don't have space for it, but I don't want to throw it out because it is cool.
I probably wouldn't either. Yeah, but anyway.
But the X-Files mini poster, you still game for that? Like that even if you don't put that up, you can just fold it in half, put it in a drawer.
That's true. I do like to squirrel things away.
Like some kind of small rodent creature. Can't think of the name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fire in the Sky. Is definitely a chill movie.
I don't call it chill.
Well, it's chill up until the moment it's like there's aliens everywhere. Squirting KY jelly in your mouth and eyes. Being like, those aliens were like, we don't know which way the anus is. We're just hoping for the best. Is this it?
They were so cute. Like, for aliens.
That is one thing that this movie did that I really thought was cool. When he initially comes up, like they cut to the abduction, like on the spaceship footage, and he sees what he thinks is one of the aliens, but it turns out it's a spacesuit that looks like the stereotypical like alien image that was very prominent and popular. Like I thought that was cool. Where it's just like, they don't
kick them in the head and it's like, poop. It's like, no, they're actually like creepy, like
weird
Oh.
flesh golem things. Yeah.
And very strong, apparently.
Yeah.
The hand when they first
Well-
find him, and he puts his hand up against the window.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's because there's condensation, and so there's that fingerprint or the handprint, and I was like, like, aliens don't normally scare me, but those guys freak me out.
Well, it makes sense that they would be so strong because they exist their entire lives, presumably in a zero gravity environment. And as we all know, based on studies conducted on astronauts who spend an extended period of time in zero G, it only beefcakes you up. It only builds muscle. It doesn't disintegrate muscle tissue like a goddamn wildfire at all. So of course they're strong.
It's kind of like deep ocean too, without the bends, because like you're fighting against gravity.
Well, there is no gravity.
Or,
It's
well,
perpetual.
you're fighting for
The joke.
movement.
Okay, no, that was sarcasm. The joke was that they've done studies, and being in a prolonged zero G environment actually degrades muscle tissue and makes you very weak.
Mm. Okay, I get the joke. I'm sorry.
I was like, damn, I might have gone a little too dry on this one.
Oops. No, I'm just dumb.
Well, clearly you didn't read the tweet from NASA that I did without looking at the actual article. Anyway, The Faculty.
Yes.
Kettle, you brought this movie to us. You start off.
This one was a trip. It's one of those movies that, like, I think I saw a long time ago, partially on TV, but it was one of those, like, I really want to, like, watch this again. And I ended up watching it with my girlfriend because she was like, yeah, I want to watch it again, because she's like, fucking everybody in this movie and is in this movie. And boy, was she right. Like,
Oh, yeah.
There's, Robert Patrick, Josh Hartnett, Usher, because why not? Like,
that was Usher, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I got the list here.
You know what I think was impressive about Usher being
Elijah
in
Wood.
that?
Elijah
Wood.
Elijah.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
was
he's
impressive
crazy.
about Usher being in The Faculty was, from what I remember, that was from a period of time, like, before, like, musical artists would, like, just show up in random horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I feel like that was the start of it. Like, it wasn't a thing before then.
Will Smith.
Will Smith was always going into acting and building up, but
Yeah,
I mean, like the cameo role.
Musician.
Yeah, the musician. It's like
Will Smith was a musician way before.
he went into acting. I mean, you're right, but I mean, just specifically cameo, like, well, that and just like cameo roles. Like, Will Smith was like, okay, I killed it as a musician. Now I'm going to take the acting world by storm. And just kind of blew up and went straight into A-listdom. As opposed to, like, Usher, who's, like, he's kind of a side character in this. Like, he's there, but it's mostly just for the promotional people to be like, we got Usher, kids. Or, like, Kelly Rowland in Freddy vs. Jason. It's like, yeah, she's a main character, but, like, hey, kids, we got Kelly Rowland from the band Destiny's Child, thank you. Like, those types of, like, singer rapper cameos that became very popular, I feel, just like after the fact.
Halloween H2O, I think it was.
Resurrection. But yes.
Resurrection.
Yeah. Busta Rhymes. We got Busta Rhymes, kids. Like, one of those. I feel like Faculty might have been the first one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But, I really enjoyed the way it encapsulated, like, the 90s high school vibe, even though everybody is clearly, like, in their 20s, at least. Except Elijah Wood. He was clearly small.
Yeah, but he always looks young. He still looks like he's a 20-year-old.
That's true.
And he's probably like 40.
I liked that. I loved Jon Stewart with a goatee. That was hilarious.
Pre-Daily Show Jon Stewart.
Yeah. And it is also, like, to me, kind of the creepiest of, like, the alien type of things, because, like, it's just the whole, like, parasite thing.
Yeah.
And I don't like that at all. At least Travis Walton got to come back. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, love Robert Patrick as the football coach. we were joking when we were watching it. They got those coolers with the little cone cups, and we were like, yeah, the water just hits different when you're drinking from one of those. Like, it's just colder, feels
right?
better.
Like I feel like maybe it's just because I don't spend a lot of time where water coolers are a thing anymore. But like seeing that cone-shaped cup,
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah,
do they
same, but it was
even
like-
make those anymore? Like I remember those, and they're very impractical. Like, do those even
Yeah.
exist?
But man, I would, yeah, if I could just have a big old bubbly cold ass water cooler like right next to my desk, oh, that'd be amazing. Like,
That's where your bedroom / office becomes a full-time office.
ooh.
When you get the
That's-
water cooler.
I'll have to consider that maybe. for
Some
when I
random
get a
like
place.
casual acquaintance strangers just come over to also drink from it, and you guys can like talk about Survivor last night. Like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
next level.
And I'll set up a recurring delivery through some kind of water distribution. That way, I make sure I get them nice big,
Yeah, you
like
can't.
5-gallon jugs.
Yeah, you don't want to be lugging that shit by yourself. That's a herniated disc waiting to happen.
Nah, they can install that. But yeah, I guess this is the one I didn't have as many notes for, but it's just a lot
Right.
of fun. It's just a lot of fun. Like, and it's
Mhm.
funny that like there's like, oh wow, the answer was drugs. Like,
As always,
yeah, the cause of and
do
solution
more
to.
drugs.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just kind of a fun, like, very 90s. The soundtrack was decent.
Oh yeah, it had a good soundtrack. Was this the one? Oh no, it wasn't this one. It was Under the Skin. There was a specific song that I heard in one of these movies, and I made a note about it. This wasn't the one, but yeah, this one had a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody volunteering to go next, or
I can go.
okay, go.
So, this movie I've seen
This
so
fucking movie.
many times. I love this movie. I always have. The movie itself doesn't take itself too seriously, and
No.
Elijah is that geeky sick kid in every high school movie. And while it creeps me out, because the aliens creep me out, and I'll go into reasons why, but while it creeps me out, I think that the aliens that take over their minds seem like it's an inconvenience for them, but yet such a pleasure to be in like a quaint human host, like displaying their own power and their own intelligence in such a primordial facade. like oh, I gotta drink this water, but also like I'm super powerful and I can regenerate and take you over and stuff like that, but I've got to walk around as one of you to do it. Like, what does that feel like for the alien? Like, but they definitely freak me out because it's a mind fuck. Like, you don't know who's who, and the fact that they can move so quickly, and I mean move like as not like when Robert Patrick's chasing down the principal, but when they can move in between hosts and just take over so quickly, that freaks me out the most about it. And that's why I think it was pretty good, because even though like I would be super pissed that there's so much reputation at the end, but I think it was legit to the point that otherwise they wouldn't have been able to get away with the stuff that they did. Meaning like they're not going to get away, like if this were a movie that wasn't so campy or cheesy and actually like making fun of itself, they wouldn't have been able to get away with the what's his face selling fucking speed to kids in a movie to his fellow high school children, or like bullying happens and selling drugs to fellow students happens, but like,
and there are movies about that too, but usually not as cavalier and happy-go-lucky and played for laughs or entertainment value as they did in this movie.
And I think a couple of my other notes, like just random thoughts on why I like the movie and just hot takes. Robert Patrick is just as good looking now. Fight me. what else did I say? Clea Duvall has always been my favorite. Hey, it's that chick.
That makes me happy because I've loved her since the Faculty as well, and I've been
For
following.
sure.
Like
she's
I've
super
obsessively followed her career. Like she's great.
Yeah, and she's super cute. She was in I think the first movie I actually, because I didn't see The Faculty until like later on. And I only watched it because I was in an Elijah Wood craze, even though I've loved him forever. And literally grew up watching his shit.
I grew up with him, basically.
Pretty much. I mean, like since Radio Flyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like he's not too far from our age, and
No.
I've watched his shit since he was a kid. But also two of my favorite ladies were in this, and I forgot about Selma Bafamka for sure because I love her.
Mhm.
And then Selma shows up, and I was like, I forgot she was in here.
There's the sick, done with everything nurse.
Yep.
She's always done with everything. She's a pretty little Mexican woman. I love her. Then my rant about Jordana Brewster, which I'm going to read out loud.
Oh no.
I forgot how much of a bitch Jordana was in this. Yo, seriously, if your girl ever makes fun of your academic ability, drop that hoe like a bag of rocks. You do you, boo thing. And then immediately after, in all caps, stop, Jordana!
Stop what?
Ruining lives.
Oh.
Just such a bitch. I did make note that I forgot Usher was in this movie. And then there was one point that Elijah says, hold on, I'll figure out which freaking note it was on. Oh, Elijah says, my life motto, I don't think anyone should run unless they're being chased.
Yeah. That's a quote I've kept in my back pocket and used on occasion.
It's true. Nobody should run unless they're being chased. And then the whole scene with Robert Patrick actually running, I was like, I don't know if this is Robert Patrick or because of Robert Patrick, but that whole scene reminded me of the Terminator.
Oh yeah, no, I would be 100% certain that Robert Rodriguez was like, we're doing a T-1000 scene, and Robert's like, all right.
Like he blatantly puts like, and the movie encourages it, and everybody encouraged it, I guess, on production, but like this is blatantly piecemealed from other movies, and that's what makes it so great to me. Like I'm like, this is everything I love plus all these actors.
Yeah, cool. It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it's the Puppet Masters, and a lot of it is John Carpenter's The Thing. Like there are scenes taken straight out, like the opening shot of the POV shot of the unseen evil creeping up on Robert Patrick. Like that's a shot taken straight out of, like a shot in a situation taken straight out of The Thing. The whole drug test in the lab where they're trying to see who's an alien, who's not. That's the blood test from The Thing. Like, it straight up is.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just different enough and set in a different way that it, like, makes it its own, but it still pays homage to the Thing. That it's this is great.
One thing I did have to say about when they were doing the test thing with the drug and Mary Beth did the
little twiddly thumb.
Yeah. Before even the reveal, I saw her thinking it as bullshit because like she didn't snort from what you see in the first time. She just kind of goes like, and it's like this bitch, like
right. But at the same time, like I felt like she played it really close to the vest as well, especially like she was really clever in her deviousness where she's presenting herself as being trying to help but being such a ditz that she fucks it up without meaning to. Like towards the end where they have the whole thing of the drug and she just goes crazy and starts flinging it like nuts.
Yeah.
And it's like to the outside observer, it's like, yeah, she's trying to help, but she's freaking out and she made a boo-boo. But in her mind, she's like, I need to get rid of all of this shit and sell it. Which I thought was like, I thought that was really clever.
She was pretty good in that. And I think the last note that I have on it was Famke Johnson telling what's his face Burke off in the middle of
wait, Josh Hartnett?
Yeah, Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, where she's like, you little boy, where's your fucking mommy?
Much.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
An alien talking for her, but you go, Funka.
Well, that was the weird thing. Like, it didn't even make it into my notes because I just now realized it as we're talking over it. But, like, even though these people are possessed, something of the host is retained because even at the beginning, when they kill the principal, they're like, I always wanted to do that. As the people they're infesting. And even and in the scene with Famke, where like she's expressing herself in a way that she really wanted to, but was too timid to do until she was like freed by being infested by these alien parasites.
Yeah.
Which that's interesting.
That was kind of one of the things that prompted my thought of how weird must it be for these aliens in these human bodies who still have these human needs and human thoughts while they're trying to parasite their way in. And that was part of the mindfuck for me where I was just like, ugh. Like, I never want that to happen. Sorry, I keep looking at the lizard that's sitting on my wall next to me.
he's like, I could be an alien parasite. You don't know.
You can infest me. I love you.
Whoa. I really don't want. I would never want that to happen. Come here, lizard. Climb into my spine. Puppet me like a marionette.
Whatever. I'm just gonna go outside and eat flies. It's okay.
I don't usually bring Chad into this, but what if the aliens are super chill and the humans' possession drove them mad? That's actually that's a reasonable point. But Neff.
But Boone.
You want me to go first?
No, I got this. That's fine.
Okay.
I was just your face. I don't know. Like, so I just remember sitting down to watching it, and it just bringing me joy because I was like, oh, I know that person. Oh, I know that person. Oh, person.
It's the Enemy of State of 1998. Only I think Enemy of the State also came out in 1998, but had completely different people, but also had everyone in it.
Right?
Who knows?
Like, I even recognized Beatrice from, she was from Frasier.
Yep.
Like, I don't watch Frasier. I've never watched Frasier, but I know her face, and her face is what I associate with Frasier.
Who is she?
She was,
because I watched a few episodes of Frasier, but I don't remember who Beatrice was.
Fuck, no, I'm sorry.
The principal?
Yeah, she's the principal. Sorry, not Frasier. Cheers. I apologize. Cheers.
I don't...
Yeah, no, but, like, it was just kind of cool to see, like even the older the older in quotation mark actors, like, they also had, like, they were in this campy alien horror movie, and they all had, like, acting merits. And it was, I mean, other than Usher. But, like...
But even Usher, I think Usher did a good job with the role he had. Like, he had a little side background-ish role, but I think he did it well.
And I'm sorry, Fish. I love Jordana Brewster. She's adorable.
I also really like her, but
she's a bitch in everything she does.
Not everything. We still need to watch. She's in the Fast and the Furious movies. She's not a bitch in that.
Well, I mean, even there she was kind of bitchy.
Not really.
In Fast and Furious?
Yeah, wasn't she? What's his face's a girlfriend in that movie?
Paul Walker, girlfriend, Vin Diesel's sister.
She had an attitude.
Well, she's always got an attitude, but she's hanging out with a bunch of greasy men. She's got to have a bit of a edge to her.
Yeah. I'll amend it. In most shit that
she didn't have as much of an attitude as Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah, no,
right? Michelle Rodriguez is just walking attitude.
Yeah, she's just like, fuck you, I'll punch you in the face.
I love both of them. I love both of them, but whatever I've seen them
I do agree. For the
bitchy.
most part, yeah. Jordana Brewster, well, usually, or there's a turn where she becomes a bitch or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. She definitely has a type of role that she has done a few times.
And then after, like, half of what she said to Josh Hartnett, or whatever his name's character is, I was like, I'm gonna kill somebody. Or her boyfriend or whoever. I was like, that's such a piece of shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your review.
And did anybody else recognize Piper Laurie?
I didn't at the start, but I saw her name in the credits and I was like, oh shit. She played Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Carrie in the
She
original Carrie.
Yeah, in 76 Carrie, she played the original Carrie.
Yeah.
She played,
In this movie.
or no, I'm sorry. She accepted the role of the mother in Carrie. She was the mother in Carrie.
All right,
Yeah.
because Sissy
played this movie?
Spacek played Carrie. What the fuck am I thinking? She
Yeah.
played the older teacher
Mhm.
at the
Yeah,
beginning who
the
kills the
one that-
principal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it was just
know
really
names.
cool to see her.
Yeah.
And just like everybody else that they threw into it, and I was just like, holy shit! It's nice to have a
Yeah.
movie where I can actually point out people.
Because even like the I think he was the history teacher, the guy who said like this is the test, like that gravelly face looking dude. Like even him, I've seen in like half dozen
Yeah.
things.
I'll
He's
be back
definitely
in a
one of
second.
those like, oh shit, it's that guy.
Right? But like I thought it was really good, and you're right, like after you pointed it out, like yeah, it is very much a homage to the thing. And it was a great like modern day homage to
Homage. It's a homage.
homage. What did I say?
No, you said homage, but it's actually homage.
Oh.
But I will accept homage because that's what Tracy Jordan called it in Cop Out.
Homage.
It's a homage, Jim.
Homage. So it like I felt like sorry, I think I've honestly only ever read it and I've never seen it spelt when it's being used.
Yeah,
so
that's why I
guess
accept
yeah.
homage because that's how it's fucking spelled. And also, yeah, Tracy Jordan said it in Cop Out, and I'm like, yeah.
But it was I wouldn't say I was ever scared per se, but I was very entertained.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the dialogue between people were great. It was campy. It just had its good basic like late 90s movie formula.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where it wasn't original, sure, but like it was original in itself as to how it portrayed what it was playing homage to.
Yeah.
So homage to.
Homage.
Fuck it.
It's a homage, Jim.
Wait, they paid the Amish? What?
We don't pay those people. We'd pay them in buttons, but they wouldn't accept. Wait, is it the Amish that don't wear buttons? That's the Amish, right? Not the Quakers,
know.
or is it both?
I think it's the Quakers because the Amish. I think the Amish are
Wait,
just
the-
like natural stuff.
Wait, they do what now?
Don't wear buttons.
The Amish do not wear buttons, correct?
Okay, so yeah, we would have paid them in buttons, but they turned us down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like we don't use those.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, they do not unnecessary cuffs, collars, lapels. Apparently, I know how to pronounce that, but not homage. Homage. And
It's a homage, Joe.
I think it's
Jim?
Actually, it's both Quakers and
That makes sense.
it's called plain dress, and it's a
Yeah.
practice that some groups, primarily Christian churches, do. So yeah, so it's Amish and Quakers.
Side tangent, but do you remember like probably around the time that the Faculty came out, like everyone was like crazy about Amish people. Like Weird Al had the song, and like everybody just went Amish crazy there for a few years.
I'm still kind of crazy about certain Amish things, and mostly because
They're
they have
interesting.
really good food.
They're
not.
super interesting.
I'm not going to get political about that, but I'm not.
Okay.
They treat their animals poorly.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But so hold on, regaining where I was. Regaining.
You were at the Amish?
Right?
Yeah. Skip to the Amish part of the notes.
Right? I don't have the Amish part of the notes. That was a tangent I wasn't
Oh,
expecting. But I like with fuck, now I can't think of what's her face is. Who was the chick that was all innocent? The new girl. Gracie
Yeah.
something?
Mary Beth.
Mary
Mary.
Beth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like her, I honestly did not expect her to be queen. Even though, yeah, like once I look back and I'm like, that makes sense. I'm just dense. But
No, it
like,
surprised the fuck out of me the first time I saw it too.
okay. But like, I think my favorite part is when she's in the locker room and she's strolling through taunting Zeke, and she's like walking through naked, and I had to sit there for a second. I'm like, does she have nipples? She doesn't, kinda. Like,
Yeah, I actually did research on this after she mentioned it. Well, when she mentioned it to me, she's like, "Did that chick at the end of the faculty have nipples?" I'm like, "Yeah, she had nipples. Pretty sure." So then when I watched it, I'm like, "Does she have nipples?" I'm like, "Yeah, I see nip there." And then I still wasn't convinced, so I found a screenshot of her standing there topless that someone had brightened up, and turns out it's a little weird middle ground. Her nipples appear to be covered with tape and flesh paint. So I don't think it was a character design that she wasn't meant to have nipples. I think it was more of the actress didn't want, or the actress or the production crew or somebody decided, like, she doesn't need to be standing there with her full naked tits hanging out. Put some tape over them, paint over them. And it's just like a sloppy paint job and tape job that it looks just weird. It looks like weird taped over, painted over nipples is what it looks like. So that's why I'm like, I don't think it was a design choice, because if it was a design choice, they would have done something cooler. Like, especially with Robert Rodriguez, he would have emphasized the fact that she doesn't have nipples and they're like weird looking. Or like done something else with it other than just to like hide where nipples would be in the shadows already. So yeah, I think that was more of a production choice rather than a character design choice or like a lore choice, if it were. So
right.
I think in spirit she has nipples. The actress just covered her nipples.
Yeah.
And then we killed the entire conversation with my extended nipple talk. Yes.
I mean, I didn't even notice it until you guys pointed it out.
It's really hard to notice. It's really hard to, especially unless you brighten it up, you can't even really see. Like, it looks like she has nipples.
Yeah, and it's that scene where they're like in the
locker
rooms,
rooms,
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. One thing is definitive, and that is she does have an ass crack. So aliens, even when they're, mother parasites, still have to poop.
Yes. This is true. And fart.
Yeah. Is that, or you have more?
What did you think?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
So yeah, no, I don't, like, I think this was a rental for me. I don't think I saw it in theaters back when it first came out, but I think it was definitely a rental. So I've seen it a number of times, and I've enjoyed it every single time for a lot of the same reasons. Like, it's very entertaining, it's very fun. It's like, it's a weird, because like I love Robert Rodriguez movies in general. Like, for the most part, I think every movie of his I've seen, I've really enjoyed. And he brings a sense of like fun and excitement and entertainment to pretty much all of his stuff. So it's no surprise that this one is also very entertaining. But yeah, I got a number of notes. First note, for giving slasher movies such shit for predictable repeatability in Scream, Kevin Williamson really likes using the same opening scene a lot. Because the opening scene of this is very similar to the opening scene of Scream. So, I don't know. That's just me throwing shade at Kevin Williamson a little bit. But anyway. I thought the school was really sideways. Because it looks like a rich kid's school, but it's also like a full ghetto burnout school. Like the inner city finally spilled out into the suburbs. Because like it's like I don't think there were any metal detectors, but it seemed like it was the type of school that should have had fucking metal detectors, even though it looked really ritzy and like a bunch of rich kids
If
went
the
there.
movie was made after Columbine, it probably would have.
Yeah,
Because
this
That's
metal
fair.
detectors in schools weren't really a thing until that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I forgot about that.
But they did seem to, they seem to kind of just throw together. It's like
Yeah.
everything that's kind of about a shitty school, both in more rural and inner city, just kind of throw them together and then have them all like, have all the tropes of like, oh, beat up the nerd and all that. Like,
Cameo reference that I spotted for the first time ever. In the bathroom stall, there's a bunch of graffiti, but one of the graffitis that stood out to me was Tito and Tarantula, which is the band that's done a lot of music for Robert Rodriguez's movies, and he's like really good friends with him. The band in The Titty Twister and From Dusk Till Dawn, that's Tito and Tarantula.
Oh.
I also noticed the Famke Janssen as the lit teacher on the blackboard behind her. She's got that row of pictures of like famous authors, and you can only really see Shakespeare, and then you can see halves of other ones that are hidden behind the pull down sheet to show shitty movies.
Right.
But one of the one right next to Shakespeare, you can't really see him, but he's wearing like a black suit and there's like tentacles coming off of him. Pretty sure that's H.P. Lovecraft. Which I thought was kind of cool. Because this was before all the Lovecraft like resurgence and everybody getting back into him, so it was like kind of a neat little Easter egg that I spotted.
Right.
For the most part, like, I just had a lot of confusion as to, like, whether or not getting infected kills you. And apparently it doesn't, based on the end of the movie. But at the same...
how Famke got her head back on.
Right? Side tangent, has Shooter McGavin ever not been an asshole in something? I feel like yes, but it's so rare. Because Shooter McGavin is always a prick in everything.
this one, Shooter McDadden, huh?
So another blink and you'll miss it thing. You can totally pinpoint when Delilah Jordana Brewster gets infected. Did you notice? Did you see when she got infected?
Mm-mm.
It's not when she shows up wearing glasses suddenly and acting kind of different. That's not when it happens. It happens in the science teacher's room when Jon Stewart attacks them and they cut his fingers off and the fingers start crawling around. There's a moment there where they're all screaming around, like scrambling around and trying to fight him off. Delilah and Mary Beth are kind of thrust off to the side into the background. There's a quick shot where you see one of the finger things crawling up Delilah's leg.
Right.
And you don't see them again until the end of the scene. You don't see anything happening to them. The only other person that could have helped her was Mary Beth. Why the fuck would Mary Beth help her? That's where Delilah gets infected.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because doesn't she scream about it too, that it went on her leg?
Yeah, she's screaming. You see her fall back, it's crawling up her leg, and she's screaming and freaking out. And then it cuts to the rest of the fight and jabbing the needle in the eye, or the pen in the eye, and everything like that. You you kind of see them in the background a little bit, but you don't get a good look at what's happening. And then after everything is done, they kind of stand up and come back into the fold, and they're like, "Oh shit, that was crazy." So yeah, that's totally where Delilah gets infected. I've spotted that for the first time during this watch through. I was like, oh shit. Because that's always the fun thing about these infection movies, is trying to pinpoint like when specifically do certain characters get infected. And there's a lot of like back and forth on figuring out like in The Thing, like when, okay, we know this character became the alien, but like when did that happen? And like whose dirty gym shorts are all torn up? And there's a lot of good theories and like solutions to that. So it was cool spotting one in this that I'm sure other people have already seen.
For sure.
But I found it out on my own, so that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Mary Beth being a fucking clever double agent, using her cover to seem to help while actually fucking everyone over. Another subtle little thing I know is about Famke and her whole decapitation, like non-death thing. When it cuts to the end and you see her back as a normal human, she's wearing a scarf around her neck.
Yeah, I noticed that, but I'm
Yeah.
like, still.
So, yeah, this goes into the whole thing about, like, how the fuck does this even work? Because the principal, like, she gets stabbed in the chest, like, a lot of times, which would presumably have killed her immediately, but we see her roaming around as an infected alien person later. And then at the very end, she gets shot in the fucking head, and presumably, like, proper dies. Oh, and then she also gets the shit poured all over her and freaks out and everything and melts. So, like, and then at the end, Jon Stewart, you see him, he's got the eye patch on, and he is still missing his cut off fingers. So, damage done to the host body is persistent, and the host body can be killed, I guess, if the parasite dies, but not forever. But yeah, Famke being decapitated, and then you see her put her head back on. So the only theory I have for that is that the parasite is capable of some form of cellular regeneration on the host to repair damage if it's not, like, killed outright. But maybe with her, it, like, healed enough so that once the parasite was gone, she didn't just, like, her head didn't just immediately fall off and she died. But she's probably got, like, a gnarly scar all the way around her neck. Maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
But that's also just kind of in line with Robert Rodriguez monster movies, because he doesn't really give too much of a shit on, like, the how and the why of how the creatures work, in favor of having the most fun with them. Because again, in From Dusk Till Dawn, like, the vampires work in a million different ways in that movie, and they all die in different weird ways, and that's not even, like, there's no real lore reason for that. It was just explicitly a production choice to be like, yeah, let's just get weird with this. Like, yeah, let's have one explode, let's have one melt, let's have one, like, burst into a skeleton and then dance around and then flop to the ground. Like, they were just coming up with weird, crazy ideas and running with it. So that it makes a lot of sense that there's really not a lot of explanation as to why certain things work the way they do, knowing that he was behind the camera. But it is still, it's interesting to think about, like, how the fuck did these things actually work? Who really died, and at what point did they die, and does the parasite death count as a death? Like, this movie was a clusterfuck to, like, try and calculate the death count. And it may not be entirely accurate for that reason. The one person that I'm pretty sure is, like, absolutely 100%, yeah, she's totally fucking toast, is the principal. Because she dies, she gets stabbed to death at the very start, and then she gets melted after she's infected. Like, yeah, she's gone for good. She is toast. Everyone else, I don't know. And then the other interesting subplot that I noticed more through this watch through that I thought was pretty interesting was just how obsessed Mary Beth is with Stokely. Like, did you notice that? Like, how, like, everyone else, she's just kind of snatching up. No real some of them are through violent means and whatnot. But with Stokely, like, she zeroes in on her from the very start and starts trying to manipulate her psychologically to accept it.
Yeah.
To willingly give herself over. And it's not until the very end where Mary Beth has been found out and she's just super pissed that she's finally like, okay, Stokely, come here. You're coming into the fold, bitch. But, like, all the way through up until that point, Mary Beth is like, wouldn't it be nice, though? Like, you should really, like, give into this.
Yeah.
Which she doesn't do with... Yeah, she doesn't do it with anyone else. It's fucking weird. Like, I'm like, I want to know more about why that was.
Yeah, because that makes me think, like, I want to know more about, like, the whole parasite race, actually, because, like, why was she, because she was very obviously trying to get her over to groom her and maybe to be the next queen, because they can't really reproduce they can't really reproduce. They're like what the hell is it called when you bud?
Asexual.
Well, asexual, yes, and like a piece of coral, and I related to that specifically because of the water.
Mm-hmm.
But like they bud and they regenerate body parts through that. So like maybe she can't have another legacy until she does that.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Like
So like
recruiting her as a new queen. I didn't consider that, but that's yeah, maybe.
or like a sub queen so that they can cover all of the earth, and she just thought she was worthy enough to be able to do it because of
Yeah.
her little gothy attitude. She's so
Mm-hmm.
cute. I cannot. She's so I love her little nose. I love her freckles. I just love her.
But like it makes sense. Like it makes sense that Stokely would be targeted because like she's a loner. She's on her own. Like nobody would really miss her if she suddenly went missing or changed. Like she was an easy target. But at the same time, like given all the other methods that we've seen them use to grow their numbers, it's just such a weirdly personal, intimate method of trying to convert someone that we don't see her do, don't see any of them do with anyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was
kind of does it with what's his again? Is it Josh Hartnett? Yeah, him. But I think only
Josh
simply,
Hartnett was the drug dealing kid.
yeah, she
Yeah.
does it with him a bit, but I think it's only honestly because she
Oh
knows
yeah.
he can bring her down.
Yeah,
And
that
she's
was
trying to figure
threat
out his
assessment.
mind.
Yeah, that was threat assessment, I think.
Mhm.
Or at the very least, you can make the logical assumption that the reason she was getting close to him is because she knew he had something that could hurt her, so she wanted to handle the threat. With Stokely, it's just like, because Stokely knows about sci-fi shit? Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe?
But that doesn't even really come out until, like, much later in the movie. For the most part, or at least at the start, where they start getting together, she's just the weird gothy chick that doesn't like anyone and may or may not be a lesbian.
But in that case, then Elijah Wood would have been a good candidate because he
Yeah.
was a science boy.
Yeah. And they kind of let him do his weird nerd shit for quite a while. So, yeah, it's in, like, I want, like, a side story that just, I want two side stories. I want a side story, like, going into the psychology of what the fuck why Mary Beth was so obsessed with Stokely. And I want a side story between Josh Hartnett's character and Famke Janssen's character. Or just Famke Janssen's character to, like, just explore why the fuck she was so mousy and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see her, like, not infected, you know, not being so timid and, like, just learning how she got the way she was.
Like the Phoenix, but not.
Yeah.
Like with a different backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see who's in chat, by the way? Because
I did.
awesome.
Bakura, hello. Nice to have you here. Sorry, we're not interacting. It's the talk show podcast thing, so we don't really keep a huge interactivity with chat to keep the conversation flowing. But hey, how you doing in between movies when we have a moment? So yeah, we're at the midway point. Does anyone want to take a break?
Yeah, I do a quick get up, stretch, drink type of thing.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Be back in a few.
Yeah. I'll also be back in a few. Let's see, catch up on chat real quick.
Yeah, doing well. Rio.
Talk about Dust Till Dawn? No. Dust Till Dawn just came up because we were talking about The Faculty and Robert Rodriguez directed both of them. Seen when she tried to take the drugs, but done something with... Oh, yeah, she closed up her nose. Yeah, that was cool. Weird play on gremlins. Get them wet and they multiply. I'd never considered that, but yeah. There is kind of a gremlins vibe to it. Because they reproduce in the water. Faculty is a great movie, for sure. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break and go stretch and use the bathroom. I'll be back in a few.
Was the game Obscure not based on The Faculty? I'm not.
I think I'm aware of the game Obscure, but I don't think I ever played it, so I don't know. I'll be right back.
Oh my. Some knowledge of a few things is always good.
You know what I thought?
Hmm.
I'm surprised not one of us picked Independence Day.
A little more action sci-fi than horror.
That's true.
Yeah. Also, like, would it even be fair?
True.
It's like, come on, man. Give somebody a chance, all right? Yeah, Bakura, nice to see you as well. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Night.
Especially paired with the faculty, it would have been like, all right, well, I guess just like fuck the other two movies. They're getting 2 points apiece. And they gotta share them.
Yeah.
All right, I think everybody's back.
Kettle?
Cool.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's
Yeah,
back.
I'm here.
He back.
Good.
He back.
eBay.
It's my limoncello LaCroix.
Oh fuck, LaCroix, bitch. Haven't had LaCroix in a long time.
Dude, I've basically been living off seltzer water the past few months.
Oh hell yeah. It's so good.
It sates my soda cravings, so
Yeah. That's honestly kind of the problem, I think. Cause like if I got soda, well, Neff is the same way. If we've got soda in the house, we'll just like slam through it. LaCroix's even worse because it's like it's guilt-free soda. It's got all that.
I'm
got that.
perfectly fine with that. That don't bother
But
me. Like,
but then we burn through it even faster. So it's like, in order to keep ourselves stocked with LaCroix, it's like, yeah, we gotta spend like $10 every couple of days.
Yeah, usually when I pick up, I've been buying it at Costco. I'll get like a couple of Costco size cases, just because like I know what I'm about. Like,
Oh, okay. What's a Costco size case?
Like 32, I think.
Oh shit, yeah, that could I think that was where we probably would need to be. It's like, yeah, if we can get it in bulk. And not pay like $4 for a 12 pack.
Kinds. And then there's like a new brand I tried this most recent time called like Polar, also pretty decent. Really, any seltzer water, just give me some flavored bubbly. Like I'm fine.
I'll go with just straight bubbly. Like I just like the bubbly water. This is very good.
I don't think I like it without flavor, but
have you tried it?
I've not, but it seems a little.
I'd say get yourself a Perrier from a gas station once upon a time. Like, just give it because it's definitely interesting.
Okay.
And it may not be to your taste, but
welcome to Seltzer Talk.
Right. It's the Seltzer podcast.
Seltzer.
That's what we should do. We can corner the market in no time.
Oh, that'd be great.
What do you mean there's already a Seltzer podcast and they have like 400,000 viewers? What the fuck? Missed another one. But anyway, let's jump forward like 15 years under the skin.
All right.
All right, this was my pick, so I guess I could start.
It's up to you.
I mean, that's kind of the theme I've been going with. I don't know. I was trying something different.
Yeah, that works.
I don't know if you guys are digging it.
No, that works.
That's perfectly fine with me.
All right. But yeah, Under the Skin. Like, I had seen this movie once before, picking it. And it was definitely, like, I didn't know how I felt about it afterwards. Like, I was pretty sure I liked it, but I was like, it's also very strange. So it was definitely on the list of, like, I need to rewatch that. And this was perfect for it because I was like, yeah, I need to rewatch it and have other people watch it as well and then, like, talk about it so that they can explain it to me because I'm a big dummy. So now
you don't want me talking about that shit.
So, yeah, but at least, I got the opportunity. So a few things. The opening of the alien learning how to speak while being made, I thought was really cool. I didn't notice that the first time. That's what we were watching. The weird opening of seeing the eye being formed and you hear all these weird noises. Like that's her learning to say things phonetically. I still maintain, like, I had this thought the first time I saw it. It was just re-emphasized this time. All the footage of her driving around, like, picking up people and, like, talking to them and basically interviewing them. I'm like, this just reminds me of Bang Bus, only the roles are reversed. Which, if you've seen...
My thought was ScarJo Trucks Him DLC win.
I'd buy that DLC.
Me too.
But yeah, and if you've seen any of the pornography series Bang Bus, like I feel like I
know what you're talking about.
It's Bang Bus, only with a woman driving and interviewing these random people off the street to see if they're eligible for the Bang Bus. You don't see dick in movies often. You see erect dick even less. This had mini erect penises in it.
Hard peen alert, dude.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm like, I love it.
I was like, whoa.
It's super shocking because outside of the Bang Bus and other similar programs such as Bang Bus, you don't really see a lot of hard cock in movies. So it's always surprising, but like I loved it. I was like, hell yeah, because it always bugs me in scenes where like two people are like having sex or something, or they're about to have sex, and you can just from a certain angle you can just see that the dude is completely fucking flaccid, and it's like that completely breaks the immersion and the realism of the scene. Like, no, you would be rock hard right now. Shut the fuck up. But, the MPAA and standards and practices and blah, blah, blah. You can't show hard cock. This movie showed hard cock, and I commend them for it.
Yeah, and it was actually a cool role reversal for her.
It was.
There, she wasn't naked at all.
No, it was. You saw
at some point, but
yeah, for a long period of up until the point where she starts to kind of like make that transition. You see way more naked dudes than you see naked ScarJo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, yeah, this was the one. Hey, Aaron, how does Darude Sandstorm go? Oh, her mic's cutting out. She can't properly respond to the joke.
Yeah, I have that in my notes too.
Yeah,
Sandstorm.
Sandstorm was prominently featured in this film. One of the there's another song that was prominently featured in. I was gonna say another one of these films, but we only have one left, so it's Alien Abduction has a song prominently featured. I also made a note about that one, but we'll get to that. I was still trying, again, 2 times in, I'm still trying to figure out what these aliens' whole deal is, and the only thing I can come up with is feeding.
Yeah, that was my kind of thing. I really felt like it was it was a little too vague for me. Like, it might just be because I'm stupid when it comes to watching movies. Like, I'm the reason why nowadays movies have to beat you over the head with stuff. I'm like, oh wow, the thing.
Well, on the one hand, I will say, I don't think what the aliens' purpose was and what they were trying to do is important for the movie, but it's also something that I'm just I just want to know, man. I want answers, because whatever they're doing, it's too small scale and targeted to be a full-scale invasion, so you can just cross that off the boat entirely. And then you see that they're absorbing shit out of the bodies and slurping it all up into some fucking meat grinder thing. So the only thing that I can think of is that it's just they're feeding, or they're doing something with
based on who she was,
collecting genetic material.
Yeah, based on who she was, I really feel like that was a giant stomach.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, that was a giant stomach, and I didn't know if there were other aliens or not, because, I mean, the way she was and how she came to be, I guess, it really seemed like she had sentience outside of herself, too. So, it could be
or at least she developed it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, sentience outside of herself. Yeah, for sure, because when she goes AWOL, it's not like they immediately know where she is and start tracking her down. They have to go hunting for her. So she is autonomous.
Well, I mean it in the sense of she's got body parts outside of herself, because what was she before this? She had to become this, and that could be her stomach or a shared stomach. It made me think of Black Melt.
Well, yeah, I can see the comparisons there, with people being all melty and shit, and a lot of pitch black darkness and whatnot.
That was the thing to me. It's just okay, yeah, you're gonna go hook up with this chick, but then you walk into her house and it's just pitch black and shit. I'd be turning right the fuck around and be nah.
Yeah, and
I'm out. I ain't that desperate. Shit, man.
But at the point they got to that, it almost felt like I feel like they were in a trance, and
yeah.
Also, it's a question of how much of that house even was a psychic projection. Because the internal architecture didn't really make a lot of sense, and then the void room is just, it goes on forever, and it's in this tiny little flat in Ireland or Scotland.
How does she walk on the water, as it were?
Yeah,
and
so there's a lot of trippy shit going on. But wait, I had another. It wasn't in my notes, but I had another thought bridging off of. What the fuck? Well, yeah, okay, so yeah, that was it. So we see at the end, she literally pulls off her skin suit. Spoilers, by the way. But the skin suit is still alive, because there's that really cool shot of her looking down at herself and herself looking up at her. So it's still kind of the skin suit is alive and separate from her. So I imagine that's what you were getting at, Fish. So yeah, there's that. We also see before that happens, we see who knows if this is meant to be her without her skin suit or a different alien, but we do see another one of the big lanky black aliens in that room standing there looking at shit.
Ooh, I missed that.
Yeah, there's a shot there's one little segment of you just see this thing standing there, and it's what the fuck is that? And then you see at the end, she pulls it off, and she is one. That's what she looks like underneath her skin. But was that well? Clearly, there are multiple different because there's the little motorcycle guys. Presumably, all of them are weird, creepy black aliens wearing skin suits as well. And then there's this central hive, which is basically a giant, weird, trippy stomach that just like sucks these people in and like devours them.
Right.
A lot of like, again, it wasn't in my notes, but just kind of a vibe with it and like how she operated and everything like that. It is very arachnid, very spidery.
Yeah.
And even the
Black Widow,
music,
if you will.
right? This is the real Black Widow movie, motherfucker. And even the music that would play when she was doing her little performances and shit like that, and the way she was moving, it was very like the music felt very spidery.
Yeah.
To me. Also, before anyone else puts their foot in their mouth like I did the first time seeing this movie, the guy with the facial deformities that she picks up that kind of gives her the final sense of humanity for her to break away from everyone. His name is Adam Pearson. That's not special effects.
Yeah, I looked that up too. That's an actual person.
That is exactly how he looks. He has a condition called neurofibromatosis. Which, so that guy is like real cool. And
he really is.
Very brave. Especially like being fully nude and everything like that. So that was...
I wouldn't do that shit.
Yeah, no. I don't have that condition. I wouldn't do that shit. So kudos to him.
And the stuff that they touched on with him, like the conversation, I thought that was... I'm going to go over that more.
It's very real.
That was what I wrote down. I was just like, man, asking that poor man about girlfriends, that's just kind of mean. Like,
but
you're doing your alien.
You're doing your alien bang bus audition,
right.
Well, that's.
But at the same time, like it also like that scene also started being like weirdly sweet in a heartbreaking way.
Yeah, is conflicting feelings.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflicting feelings in this movie. And then, like, the only other thing... Well, no, I've got the other things when I went through the categories. The dude in the woods that she meets... He, like, it's...
Yeah.
He's using the exact... Like, when they first meet, he's using almost the exact same leading questions that she did with all of her victims, or potential victims. Which I think is very intentional. Because there's a mirroring in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What did I write for all the different categories and shit? Mostly digested man going pop definitely stands out, both in terms of being visually interesting and also unnerving and startling.
Oh yeah,
when the skin suit boy just the extended shot of him
of the movie to me,
like jellyfishing in on himself. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, could have done without that.
Yeah. Character, like, lead alien, interesting character, amazingly performed. Ancillary characters feel natural and real. It's a weird art house disturbing movie about aliens and symbolism.
It makes sense. It was produced by A24.
Oh yeah, that's true. A24 also did Uncut Gems, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the like when I started Uncut Gems and it starts with that really trippy shot, I was like, this feels like Under the Skin. I was like, what the fuck is this? Is not the movie I thought it was at all. Comfiest movie. Under the Skin is not comfy, like at all.
Dude.
Most entertaining. Under the Skin is not a movie made to entertain. So yeah, I think that's more or less my take. There's a lot of symbolism in there. I think I get like half of it maybe, but I feel like I need an associate's degree to even start unpacking this movie properly. So hopefully you guys can help me.
I can unpack it. I'm so excited to unpack it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can go now.
I'm very excited to unpack it. Okay, so it's. You've got this. It is confirmed an alien because in case you guys didn't know, this is based on a novel, and in the novel, it is clearly described as an alien. So what happens is she's taking the form, at least, and as so I did a lot of research like after watching this the second time around, and the director purposefully left a lot of it up to interpretation, just simply because he didn't want to give a defined yes or no if you interpreted it one way or another.
Right.
It does have a central moral story to it, and a kind of a view of self-discovery and whatnot, but it's kind of a narrative on humanity. So you've got her going around, and yes, Boone, you were correct. She is feeding.
Okay.
She is collecting the men, and they are getting turned into like this goop stuff. And from what I gather is because when you walk into the house, it's a different dimension. I think the conveyor belt of sludge is going back to her home, and that's what her
Oh,
job
so
is.
it's not so much like space alien, it's dimensional aliens.
Mhm.
Oh, that answers like so many fucking questions. That alone.
Yeah, well, because I mean, if you think
That
about
it makes so much sense. Yeah.
yeah, she
I'm mad that I didn't notice that. I love
no,
dimensions.
I mean, there's a lot. This movie is simple but dense, all at the same time.
Cause like in
Surface
essence, it's
value.
like it's about some weird alien predator chick that learns to be human and pays the ultimate price for it. Like you can sum it up that simply and like, yeah, that's the fucking movie. But at the same time, there's so much other weird shit going on that it's like, what?
Right. Fish, you were trying to say?
Because I was into all the symbolism too, what you said about the book, and what it actually is and what kind of narrative it is and everything.
Mhm.
The author who actually did this book actually wrote another book, and he pretty much writes like that. And apparently wouldn't continue his other book is like a Victorian mystery novel. And it's supposedly really good, and now I want to read both books, but he apparently that's his shtick.
Who committed this horrible murder? 'Twas symbolism. Symbolism wielded the deadly blade. I don't know if that's how the author sounds. I apologize.
I hope not. But like apparently it's really popular, his other book too, so I can see like, and it sounds like something that I would read too, so I'm like, I'm all for reading both of them at some point.
Yeah, I definitely would be interested in reading the book for the movie, or
Yeah.
that the movie was based on.
Yeah.
I don't know so much about the Victorian symbolism thing. Like again, side tangent. I'm currently reading Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury, which I think it's good, but like it's written very stream of consciousnessy, and I kind of hate it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm like, this is good and interesting, I'm just like, god damn, this is a nightmare to read. Anyway, continue.
Tends to be. But so the guys on the motorcycle. Okay, so on the instance with the beach.
Yeah, they were like the
Okay.
cleanup crew.
They are. That is correct. Yeah, he is the cleanup crew perpetually, and so he removed all the evidence. The kid doesn't matter.
Yeah,
The
they
kid,
ignored the fuck out of the kid.
Yeah, no, and the kid doesn't matter, but you can see certain instances where it actually starts to bother Scarlett Johansson's character.
Oh yeah, like they immediately cut to her in the car hearing a baby crying, and she flinches and is like, I don't know how to human emotion, don't know how to process.
What do?
So like there's a lot going on there, and then as it goes on, the hypnotism as she's walking, that's you have some of them where they start to kind of look around, and she stops and she entices them further.
Yeah, those were the ones that started to like snap out of the trance. That's usually when she took off another article of clothing or like motioned their attention back to her, like, hey, look at me, hey, titties. Titties, boys, remember titties? And they're like, oh my god, that's Black Widow titties.
Whoa.
Right.
Digest me, babe.
But at the end of it, it's also a commentary on how this could be both viewed as a matriarchy type movie and a like as to how women also
Mhm.
manipulate
Yeah.
for the sake of by using their body,
Yeah.
the same way that men abuse, say, their power.
Yeah,
Or
for sure. Yeah, there's definitely a
yeah.
like I picked up on I picked up on that the first time through. Like it's a serious juxtaposition, and like
Yep.
I even pointed out like the first time, and I think in private conversations afterwards as well, where like it's interesting that by the end of it, even though we've seen her character do really fucking awful shit and basically the exact same shit, more or less, that winds up happening to her, we still like I still feel sympathy for her and don't want it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
More so than I did any of aside from Adam Pearson's character, because like it's like, dude, I just want you to have a nice day.
Right.
But everyone else, I was just like, yeah, fuck those guys, fucking hornball scumbags.
Yeah, scumbags, but technically,
But at the same
are they
time,
really? Because at
exactly,
the
like
end of
that's
the
what it starts
day,
making you think, where it's just like, why is she any better or any more deserving of sympathy than the people that she lured?
It's like it's almost like you feel like you're victim blaming at that point because like,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go into this because this is like the research that I did on this portion of it, so I'm gonna wait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there's the victim blaming of it, because I mean, honestly, those guys,
She
are they really?
lured them.
She lured them. She
Yeah.
invited them back
Right.
to her place.
Mm.
Yes, but why is it because the men are so open with their sexuality? Why is it then they're
Mhm.
only considered the perverts, but when a woman is sexually interested,
Mhm.
she's not considered a pervert?
Right.
So it's kind of a commentation also on that, which is honestly bullshit. Like, and we see it, on a regular basis in day-to-day life. At least I do, in regards to, God forbid, I talk about anything sexual with anybody outside of my close friend circle.
Mm-hmm.
And not even like in a derogatory ha 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 sexual way. If I mention anything involving human anatomy, people are instantly uncomfortable because I'm a woman talking about boobs, vaginas, penises, and I'll use, when I'm having a real discussion about it, I will use proper terms.
Right.
But it still makes people uncomfortable, like, oh, how can you, how can that happen? But if a guy talks about it, it's a joke.
Mhm.
Right.
Or it's, but and also to the same degree, if you flip it back, guys can't talk about sexual things without being viewed as pervs. However, I've had more than enough conversations with a variety of people about human anatomy, sexual function, in just an informative way.
Right.
And I think it takes a real good commentary on that, if that's what you choose to take away from the film.
Yeah, it's definitely there
Um,
if you want to like see it for sure.
yeah, and then like,
But not in a way that's like it and again, like, yeah, it's nice that it does kind of take a very interpretive and middle of the road stance. So it doesn't come across as pandering or propaganda for
Right.
any like one clear like message or anything like that. It's just like showing it. It's just like, here it is. Figure it out what the fuck it means to you. And it's right. It's fine. But like, just here it is.
This is what
Think
we read
about it. Talk about it.
Yeah, and so you view that, and so you guys were talking about, oh, how dare she ask Adam Peterson? Well, not how dare she, but like, it seems kind of rude that she asks Adam Peterson,
Pearson.
Pearson, sorry,
No,
Adam
that's good.
Pearson, as to, what about girlfriends?
Mm-hmm.
She does not see anything wrong with him. That is why she's asking those questions, and she
That's
doesn't
why
realize. She
And
doesn't realize until he starts getting uncomfortable.
yeah,
That,
and that's what makes
oh,
that scene so like kind of
bittersweet.
yeah, sweetly heartbreaking because like yeah, and like and he's like completely like his reactions to her questions and like slowly figuring out that like oh she doesn't see anything wrong with me. She's like
Yeah.
she's treating me normally. She's treating me like I'm
Mhm.
normal. And him just emotionally processing that and just also just like yeah, the alien naivety of her just being like yeah, this is just another meat bag.
Yeah, and you know, she lets him go, and then the sad and unfortunate part is her cleaners find him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, as he's crawling through
It's like,
that
oh
back
man,
room.
Adam, no, I just
So
wanted
I
you to
don't
have a nice day.
right? Like I don't know what happens after that. I can't really foresay because we don't have anybody else that gets to escape like that.
No, but I
And
mean, it
then
seemed like presumably they take him back and dump him back into
the
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 Sarlacc pit
yeah, that's a good term for it.
because I imagine that's just like if you're cleaning something up, like he ain't coming back from that.
No.
Even though apparently she was able to pull like that was also interesting the fact that like once someone is lured in there, they could be removed.
I suppose as long as they don't sit in there for too long and reach
Yeah,
that
past a certain point, you're
skin
probably just
bloom
goo, but like the fact that
stage,
like you
yeah.
can pull someone out of it and they'd be okay, disoriented as fuck, but okay, was
Right.
interesting.
But like, you know, you go through that and then as she figures it out, you know, and I think the most pivotal scene as to why, you know, she's starting to feel human. She goes in with this guy and she decides to, you know, she gets to know herself. That whole
Mm-hmm.
entire scene with her looking at herself naked in the mirror is
Yeah,
her realizing I look like I'm human. I
yeah.
feel like I'm
Her
human. I'm
story, like
becoming
thinking
human.
about it now, her story really does like the second half of the movie is basically the first half of the movie in reverse. because
Mhm.
Right.
because her interactions with that dude she meets on the bus is basically similar to her interaction with Adam's character
Hmm.
where she has that same kind of weird slow realize like she's very shy around him and put
Right.
off by him and slowly realizes oh my god he sees me as like a person
Right.
like he doesn't see me as a monster he sees me as just a normal human being and she
I is
starts to come
human.
out of her shell and everything like that. And then it comes full circle to the end of the movie being the start of the movie, where she is now in the victim's place.
Right.
Yeah, I just now picked up on that. So yeah, I'm glad I picked this movie to talk about it because I'm understanding it a lot better and seeing it a lot clearer
Right.
by talking through it.
And you've got, you know, you've got all that going on and um you know, so that happens and then when she's trying to have sex with the man,
Mm-hmm.
um she doesn't have a vagina.
Right. She gets all
She
upset
doesn't
about
have a
that.
vagina. She gets
Oh,
really upset
is that
because
how you took that?
yeah, she doesn't have
Yeah.
a vagina.
Yeah.
Is that confirmed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because when
see,
she,
I interpreted that very differently. Conversing interpretations. I interpreted that as she was being penetrated for the first time and some pain was involved and she was deeply concerned that her skin
mm-mm.
suit tore.
No, because she checks herself. She knocks the
Yeah, to
lamp off
see if
the table
there's a
to check
tear.
if there's a
I
vagina
thought.
there. He actually has some trouble too. Like you can notice it in his movements. Like he's trying to put it in, and nothing's there. And she's like really confused by it because it's not pain. She's like, what? Wait, what? Like how is this supposed to work?
Oh, I thought, yeah, see, I thought it was, she felt some pain and she thought that the skin suit tore. Because then it ties into, like, you see how easily her skin can tear in the woods and reveal what she truly is. I thought that's what it was, where she comes up and she's like, is there any black skin showing through here? Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, no. So it had to do with the fact that she was just meant to look like a human. She
Ah,
was never
okay.
meant to function as a human.
Yes.
And that's why she runs away because she's
Is
like,
that, like,
I'm
from the
not.
book or something, or?
Yeah, I think it's in the book. And,
Okay, so that's like confirmed facts. Like that's what that was. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And she, that's when she runs into the woods, and then it comes full circle, like you said. She then gets molested in the woods in the
Yeah.
logger's cabin, and she tries to get away, and he tears her, and then she gets destroyed.
Mhm.
Now there's like, when I was researching like the ending where you see the alien standing there watching her, or is it the biker?
The biker is standing on like a vista, like presumably like still like searching for her, and then it cuts to the smoke wafting up, and then the ash falling into the camera lens. So I don't know if the biker actually saw her burning, because you don't even see like a smoke trail in the vista he's looking at.
Yeah.
From what I can remember, he's just like looking out over a vista, like searching. And then it cuts back to her burning.
If these aliens are so technologically sound, to the point that they have mother fudging, vortexes to transport their food, why don't they got GPS trackers?
Listen, it's not nearly as grievous a technological like superiority inferiority complex as anything in Signs, okay?
Yeah, true.
Because again, we don't know enough about how these aliens work or where they come from, where like, yeah, the dimension, like they're dimensional trippy alien things, but like it could all just be a mistake. Like it could be like they're pushing through a rift and they're just like, oh shit, it's feeding time, boys. Breed us up a Black Widow chick and send her out there.
Right.
I honestly think it was to make them seem more predatorial, because she was pretty predatorial.
Like, oh yeah,
there's based reptilian, like, but
yeah, they're all very
advanced,
predatory,
but because they're very reptilian in their thinking and their movements and actions.
Oh, for sure.
Like they hunted her down.
Yeah.
You can go.
She said, "You can go fish."
Okay, so. I fucking love symbolism. It's my favorite thing in the world, because it's up to interpretation. But like Neff said, there is a main story to this, technically. And it's literally throwing an alien into society with human skin. And eventually she just breaks. And it's to put that juxtaposition of vulnerable women and rape culture into play without having to actually beat you in the face with it, because they turn the roles around. They basically, I think one of my notes I said that like towards the end, it's like, holy shit, a woman that isn't vulnerable can't be of this earth. Let's set it on fire. And
although at that point she was very vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, she was vulnerable at that point, but it was a cycle of her breaking down, because when we first see her, like, one of the biggest scenes that hit me was that beach scene, because, before that, we see something on the hunt. Like, and just like Neff said about the juxtaposition of looking at it in this way with the men being hunted, like, you don't, like, the message is that men joking about sexual things is literally a joke, but in the society that we're raised in, even now, when a woman does it, she's a slut. Or this, that, and the other, and it's always a negative thing. And I don't mean to sound too feministic about it, but that's just the way society is. I mean, most of us are higher thought, but let's be real. And I think I mentioned to you at one point, like, I think it touches on the idea of where a man can walk down the street and not feel threatened about getting raped, but a woman can't do that. Like, I was raised in the thought of, you need to learn how to defend yourself, otherwise someone's going to do something to you at some point, and it hasn't always proven to be wrong. So one, I didn't expect the role reversal when I went into it, even knowing what little I knew about the movie before I started doing the research afterward. But in that scene where they're on um on the beach, again, with the idea that she's trying to act human, you would think, okay, well, maybe she'll try to act more woman-like, but no, she acts like an autonomous being. And her witnessing a moment of human compassion where he goes and jumps into the water and he tries to save the family and ultimately fails, and then completely disregarding it to make a kill. Like, I was like, you could have chosen compassion there, you could have saved his life, instead you killed him. And then my thought turned around was like, well, maybe to her that was compassion to see him die, because she's watching this world and she's learning more and more as she goes along, and obviously she learns very quickly, and we find that out by the speech learning. And she could have adapted to compassion and how different she and we how the compassion that we see and how different she is. I think I mentioned the thing. I was like, is this a preserves jar for aliens? Like her whole pool. Um, yeah, no, that's where I took it back. I was like, maybe that's what she perceived as mercy, because that looked like him in her preserves jar, the first guy with the short hair, and then maybe like she thought by killing him and putting him in there, maybe that was more mercy than anything else.
Yeah, but she still like left that fucking sobbing child there. Like,
She
yeah, fuck that
did.
kid.
She did, and that's what I think the
I
breakdown.
don't think there was.
where-
I think it was. I think that led to kind of the breakdown. But at that point, I feel like she was still in full on predator mode, and it was just like, oh, easy prey, thunk.
Exactly.
Don't gonna take my top off for you, bitch. Into the vat.
Pretty much. And I'm thinking like that's where I saw a kind of turning point in her, because the baby kind of bothers her, but like that's where she's realizing or becoming more and more human, and that continues to break her down because it becomes her downfall. The more and more human she actually becomes and more woman-like she actually becomes, the more and more vulnerable she actually is. Because before she's completely calculating, she's not discriminatory in her feeding and her kills. These men aren't safe around her with how quickly she actually adapts to kill, and I was sufficiently creeped out by that.
She is somewhat discriminatory because she is, again, that's part of the whole Bang Bus scenario where she's asking leading questions to hone in on appropriate targets.
And
it's
see,
very serial killer-y, where she's like, do you fit the motif? Can I take you and you won't be missed?
Yeah.
Like the question, like, no girlfriend? Oh, you live alone? Oh, this and that? Another reason why, like, I could just pluck you away and no one will come looking? Oh, good.
Sure. For sure.
And there were other people that she picked up that didn't meet the criteria that she let go. Or she didn't pick up.
There was one. It was him. It was Adam Pearson.
No, there was another guy.
Back and killed.
No, there was a couple other people that she talked to on the street that she, like, there was at least one dude that she was talking to, and then she heard his friends calling him from the distance, and she immediately books it. She's like, "Oh, you're with friends? Out of here."
Yeah, and I guess again that points more towards again that whole predatory thing, but at the same time, she was willing to interview those people, and she picked and chose, but I don't think it was a picking and choosing because they would be missed. Like, she's asking those questions, and I think it's because she's trying to learn how to be conversational to better pick somebody up to kill them. It's almost like she's
good at it
better
from the start,
and better at it each time that she does it, because it becomes easier and easier for her to get it done.
Oh, for sure. But she was good at it from the start. And from the start, it seemed like it was a little bit more on the nose with, like, this is the criteria. This is, like, I've been asked to ask you these series of questions. But the questions are definitely designed to... And then also, when she's, like, parked on the side of the road and the one kid comes up, and then his other friends come up and they start banging on the van, she just books it out of there, too.
Yeah, but that's a fight or flight kind of thing, I think.
A little bit. Like, it definitely came across as okay, danger, evacuate area, for sure. But before the danger arose, she was genuinely like, is this food?
Yeah,
As
I
she
think
looks
that's
at the butterfly,
the
is
point
this
for looking
food?
at it differently. Like, I mean, she
Yeah.
is definitely good at it in the beginning, but the whole
But she
point
gets
is that
better at
she
it along the
becomes,
way. Yeah.
yeah, she's getting better,
By
and just
becoming
like the
more
whole
human.
thing with her talking in the beginning, like she's stuttery at first. It reminded me of my bird learning how to talk. Because you kind of mutter it to yourself a little bit, and then you start to say the words, and she kept going at it until she got better. And I think that was to show us, hey, look, this is how she is. She's good at it because she is an animal. She
Yeah.
is completely a predator, but then she's going along and getting better at her kills each time. And I don't necessarily, I disagree on the point where I think that that she's discriminatory about it. I don't think she is. I think she's just
But
like,
she
is this an
literally
easy
discriminates.
kill or
Well,
not? If it's
well,
not an
that's
easy
discrimination.
kill, I, all
Is
right,
that,
so let me
am
try
I
to
wrong? Is that not
define
the definition of
discrimination. No,
discrimination?
because I mean, discrimination, I think, more has to do with, okay, well, this is too tall, this is too short, this, that, and the other. I think she
Oh,
just wants to
physical
easy kill.
discrimination, no. Yeah, she's not
Yeah,
discriminatory in physical attributes for sure. But in
yeah,
terms of specific target to target, she does discriminate in that, is this a viable target? Yes, no. If
yeah,
y-
okay,
if yes equal C food. If no, C throw the line out again.
right.
So marital status, relationship status, family or friendship status is considered a way to discriminate someone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sorry,
And
I just
then
Googled it.
the scene with the fog where she was walking, because I'm saying, like, the whole line of her doing things was her breaking down from her going to from alien to more human like. She
Oh,
was
for
getting
sure.
comfortable in that
Yeah.
skin that she was wearing. Was she did you notice, like, was it intentionally framey? Because I rewound it just to see if it was intentionally framey, and I think it was, because she was breaking down, like they did that on purpose.
Where was
Um
this?
the scene with the fog where she's just walking and it, like,
When
it
was
gets
this in the
shaky.
movie?
What?
When was this in the movie?
Let me see.
Because I don't remember
It was
anything
before
specifically being framey.
it was right after she let Adam Pearson go.
Oh.
She was walking alone in the
Oh,
fog.
right. I don't
And
remember it being intentionally framey, but I could have missed it.
yeah, and I rewound it. I was like making sure it wasn't a thing with my player, but she was walking pretty, like, it was a shot of one leg going forward and then a shot of the other leg in front of the other, and I was like,
Oh yeah,
okay.
I didn't notice
I
that.
think it was intentional just because it was her, like, again, breaking down. And then I feel like it's because he threw her off, because, like, her predatory nature was abducted by him, and now she doesn't know how to act or feel. And then usually it's the aliens doing the probing was my next note, because they were having sex. And the next note after that was about the guy in the woods. Oh
Right.
God, this guy. This is why fresh air is for dead people. And, like, this was the creepiest
Or dead
part of the movie.
aliens.
Yeah. Because, like, again, that one smacked me in the face, because at that point she was mostly becoming human at that point, and, like, she was getting so comfortable in the skin and she became vulnerable. So here comes the whole thing where men should have feared her, because that's what she was doing. She was going out and getting men, and that's usually the other way around. And in rape culture specifically, and then she was presented with that, and like you said, it was exactly what she was doing in the beginning. She was going around and picking up these men and interviewing them and stuff like that. And again, at the end, it came out to be like, okay, so she's pretty vulnerable, or she wasn't vulnerable in the beginning, and when he sees exactly what she is, like, that didn't scream altogether vulnerable for me. It screamed hurt and broken, but that doesn't necessarily equal vulnerable. And he was like, oh, if this is not of this earth, fucking kill it with fire. And that, because a lot of his book and a lot of critique about this book is that it is the juxtaposition to rape culture, and basically you can't have that. You can't have a woman who speaks her mind and thinks for herself and wants to talk about sex or things like that. If that happens, forget about it. They might take over the earth. Kill them.
But it wasn't an invasion scheme. The Sarlacc pit was just had a rumbly and it's tumbly.
But did you notice that, like, every time she killed somebody, like, more and more of those biker men came around? Because
No,
like
there was only the
at first. It
one
wasn't
until she went
until-
AWOL.
Yeah, and then I mean, like, I felt like the number of them was about the number of men she killed too. Because we saw like what, 1 or 2 or 3 men, and it ended up with a lot more of them afterward.
I don't have specifics on how many wound up in the Sarlacc pit, but total kills of 9, so -1, 8, and then -6. No, there was 4 biker dudes by the end, and there was 1 there for the whole time, so 3 extra ones.
Okay. Well, then maybe I just made it up in my own head.
I mean, that
like
is possible. Like, maybe
after
they're
people-
harvesting this. Maybe it is an invasion scheme. They're harvesting the genetic material to make other people.
It's
things,
definitely an
people
invasion
puppet
because
things.
she's not of this earth. She was invading the whole
Well,
bubble
you know,
of
like
society.
an invasion scheme, like the Faculty, where it's like, we're going to take over this little town, and then the next one, and then the whole damn world. Yeah.
But again, who's to
This
say
one,
that's
it
not
was
what they were
more-
about? It felt like Earth was a feeding ground for them. So, like, yeah, maybe they were going to take over and wipe everything out, but she broke that cycle because she became more human.
That's like Planet of the Vampires, where it's like, you ate all your food, you dumb fucks. You're bad.
Basically.
You're bad at what you do.
But it's a universe. They could find many places to go and try it. Like, again,
Yeah.
I like the symbolism in this movie. It can lead to so many thoughts. Like, regardless of, yeah, you can eat all your food, but who's to say they're not going around to a whole bunch of planets in the universe and just basically eating all of the food that's on there? They're just a...
My God, they really are just humanity.
Pretty much. Like, yeah, and think
We were
about
the
that,
aliens
like,
all along.
That pretty much. Like, I mean, like, I know you're joking, but then the more and more I sit and think on that idea, it's like it's another symbol of how much we take over and we eat all of our resources up, and pretty soon we're not going to have any resources to live off of.
Who are the real cannibals?
Especially with it being, what do we call it, like time aliens or whatever, or interdimensional aliens.
Dimensional aliens, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many dimensions. So yeah, no, now I have a new thought in my mind. I just watched this movie over and over again.
Multi-dimensional buffet.
I'm done. I love this movie though. Like, I absolutely fell in love with it. It wasn't just because of Scarlett Johansson.
Waiting for Kettle to just be like, symbolism, man. I don't fucking know. Next.
More or less, man. I'm fucking stupid and didn't enjoy it really much at all. Like, it was fine. Like, but no, I don't know. That's not my kind of thing.
Mhm.
But
Not his
I'm
cup of
also not the analytical type. Like, I
Right.
get all the things that you guys bring up, and it makes sense to me. But I'm like, oh yeah, I never would have thought of that. Like,
Mhm.
Right.
Does
it's
it
like,
make
oh yeah,
you...
she lures the guys in. Oh, that's creepy. Oh, now she's not doing that. Interesting. Oh, now she's on fire. Okay. Like, that was more or less my life process. Like, but
she's creepy, she kills people, she's creepy, she doesn't kill people, she's creepy, she's fucking dead.
more or less, yeah. Like, oh, and also it reminded me that Europeans don't refrigerate their eggs, and that's disgusting.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
you don't have to
yeah.
if they're not... What is it? If they're not washed, you can just, like, leave them out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done it before with fresh eggs.
Like, if you
I
have
will do it
chickens,
when
you
I
can
have.
just, like,
Yeah.
take
I'd
it from
still
their
put 'em in the
butts
fridge,
and then
just
be
makes
like...
me feel
you know.
better.
Yeah, that makes... I mean, yeah, it's weird. It was weird to me, too, when I found out you could just do that. But apparently it's just
Yeah.
fine.
But yeah, I more or less, that was more or less all my thoughts on it. Like, it was fine. Like, I would not watch it again because, like, it's like, but the things you told me, it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense, but like,
Right.
it didn't feel super slow. I didn't feel like, but there were parts where I'm like, okay.
There are a lot
Like-
of.
But then with the
It's
parts
a
where it
slowly
does
placed
do the
film.
shocking things, and it's like, okay, shit, like yeah, the whole beach scene and all that, yeah, all that is like, whoa. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's my my dumb man brain take on it. Like,
All right.
I mean, that's all right, because I mean, I will admit there are some artsy fartsy symbolism ones where it's just like you're just being vague for the sake of being vague.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
You're
I feel
just
like
begging to be interpreted, and that's all you are.
yeah, whenever people are like, "Oh, I want it open to interpretation," I mean, to me, that just means like, "Oh, you don't know either." Like,
Yeah.
You just shot some random shit and stitched
yeah,
it
like
together.
it feels like a cop out to me. But
I've seen movies like that, and maybe that's why I'm like, yeah, this is kind of that. Like, there's enough artsy fartsy stuff in there where I'm just like, yeah. But at the same time, there's enough of a coherent plot where I'm just like, okay, I can at least follow this.
yeah,
So, Alien Abduction, which was Neffy's pick.
Yeah. Means I get to talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what this movie was. I googled some searchy.
You googled Alien Abduction movies, and it was the first one to pop up because it's literally the title. And you're like, that
Yeah.
works.
And you know, it looked interesting because it was found footage.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I can do that. I can take that. Alien Abduction. I thought the use of knowing how autism works, just simply because my brother does have a severe form of it, having them explain why everything's being recorded is because of how Riley, which is the kid who's holding it, records his life and how he deals and copes makes sense, as
Yeah.
they do seem to have a very they have a very pinpoint way of looking at the world sometimes, and usually that's the way that helps them comprehend. Because I've seen it with my brother having mental breakdowns just due to the fact because something was slightly off. So
Right.
it was kind of cool from that. I feel like they did pretty good with the view of how autism potentially can work, depending on how high on the spectrum you are. The alien scared me. This is the one movie where the aliens actually terrified me because it was very much it's my favorite type of monster slash bad guy slash alien slash whatever, where you really never get that great of a look at them.
Yeah.
And that freaks me out. And then also the fact that they are just hardcore hunting. I don't know why they want these people. I don't know what they're doing with these people.
Because they really don't like dysfunctional families, but not as much as they hate birds. Were you not here for the monologue?
No,
I made it very clear.
Very clear. But like they seemed like a functional family until stuff started going wrong.
Until Dad went off the fucking handle for like no goddamn reason and turned into an absolute bastard.
Me.
You mean Dad Galifianakis?
Dadafanakis. Oh my god, I see it now. I would have rather if Galifianakis played this role and it was just the same but him. I would have liked the dad more, even though he was a bastard.
Yeah.
Like all the crows dying and just all that, like it was very much out of all of these, in my opinion, it was a horror movie.
It definitely followed the most like stereotypical horror like format of them all.
Yeah.
In the intent that like it was meant to like be scary for sure.
And I researched the Brown Mountain Lights after watching this, and they're not nearly as cool as this movie makes them.
What? What are you talking about? This is found footage, real found footage from some smashed camera that got shucked out of a spaceship and somehow survived re-entry through the atmosphere with nothing more than a cracked lens.
Yeah.
It's real. Damn it.
Totes real. And
It's
like
still real to
apparently
me, damn it.
They were abducted, but they're gone, which is weird because we see the part where that guy gets all the hillbilly dude
Yeah.
gets all like turned up, like and morphed and
Turned up for what?
contorted. Yeah.
Oh no, that was the mom. We didn't get
that was
to,
Mom.
it was Hillbilly Sean as well, but we didn't see his bones go all Rice Krispie treats. We saw the mom's
Yeah.
bones go Rice Krispie treats.
Which I'm sorry, Fish. I didn't know that was going to be in the movie.
What?
I know
which
you don't
part?
like contortion-y stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean that's okay. It's not as like pertinent to warn me about, as like let's say an animal dying. I don't like animal deaths. It just bothers me.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like as I said, the dog didn't die.
Yeah.
The dog just
thank God.
fucking
I'm
left.
Right?
The dog maybe died for a minute, then the dog was fine, then the dog was like, I'm the fuck out of here. I don't know what you dumbasses are doing, but I'm leaving.
Side note on this, I had to message Neff while I was watching the movie. I'm like, what's going on with the dog? Is the dog gonna die? Tell me what happens to the dog. And she's like, oh no, he's just gone. I was like, no, I'm at the part where the dog left already. He came back. She goes, no, he's just gone again.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
It's fine.
I was like,
The movie realized there's only one thing more irritating than dealing with children actors, and it's animal actors, and they're just like, yeah, just who gives a fuck about the dog? Just let it leave. Like, never, like, get the dog out of here.
In my mind, he went away. He was 10 out of 10, a good boy. He left and he built his own farm somewhere.
The dog left.
Like a good Irish setter.
The dog left, jumped on a boat, went across the ocean, wound up in Ireland of all places, found another dysfunctional family to hang out with, and then got eaten by fucking leprechaun people. Demon, thanks. It's the dog from the Hollow. That's the joke. It came out sloppily and poorly, but it's the dog from the Hollow. That's the end of the dog story.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, it was good in the sense of like once shit started happening, I enjoyed it. That part where they're trying to let you get to know the family, I could get
Yeah, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Let me get to the point where the aliens are being scary and people are getting abducted and they're trying to save themselves and they can't and they realize their guns ain't doing nothing.
That's honestly, that's always like kind of the maker, or like one of the first make or break points of a lot of found footage movies is like, how do they handle character introductions? Because it's very difficult to do that when everything is meant to be found footage, because it's really hard to be like, hello, my name is character name and this is how I'm relevant to this story, without making it feel very scripted and fake, which is the antithesis of found footage. So like, yeah, it's really hard to nail that. Not a lot of movies do. Blair Witch, I think, did it very well. Whether or not you like Blair Witch or not, I think Blair Witch introduced the characters very naturally. And there's a few other ones as well that introduced the characters naturally where it felt still real. But I wouldn't say this movie managed to do it.
Yes, now the thing that made me not really give a shit about the family is that I realized that it's like 2014 and they seem to have a family plan of blackberries, and the dad is still insistent on using the TomTom GPS directions instead of Google. What the fuck?
I know the girl was the
Tom
sister.
in 2014. You shush.
I didn't know the girl
Google
was
knows everything.
You thought she was the tag-along mistress?
I thought she was the girlfriend to the older son.
Ah.
I just went on the family vacation with them until they actually started mentioning about the sister, and I was like, "Wait, what? She's their okay?" Because they're kind of close, kind of like Alabama close.
They just like cuddling.
Yeah, it's
it's
his sister daughter.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I didn't figure it out even after they were up on the little hill and they were talking about her. I was like, I didn't even figure it out at that point until like midway through the movie.
Wait, where were you at, Neff? Because we keep interrupting you.
Good. Honestly, like it was an okay, like, minus the fact that they just apparently do not know how to write the family. other than them being irritating as shit. Like I enjoyed it once it picked up. Like it was good.
Yeah, once it got going, it was very quickly paid. Like they did tension very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very entertaining movie.
No.
Horror thing, the fact that it is the most horror out of all the movies, I completely agree with. And did you guys know that the whole scene with the crows was intentionally supposed to be an homage to Hitchcock?
I knew,
No, I
but
didn't.
because you
I
told
didn't
me.
know, but it makes sense.
I knew because you told me ahead of time.
I was really excited about that because I watched that scene after finding that out. Because I did, like, what I've been doing is just a tiny bit of research just to see like what stuff should be pointed out, just so I can pay attention to it better. But I saw that part and I'm like, I am such a Hitchcock whore. I love him. And Birds is, surprisingly, for all of the animal death in Birds, it's one of my favorite movies. Actually, that's the movie why I don't like seeing dogs or cats dying, because of the dog scene in Birds where he goes outside and they can't get him back in time. That hurt me so bad as a kid. But I watched that scene, and that scene in particular, I was kind of like, oh yeah, 10 out of 10. You did a good job on basically giving him a nod, because that was pretty much the scene from Birds.
What's the implication though? They're like, yo, remember Hitchcock's The Birds, where a bunch of birds go crazy for no reason and start killing a bunch of people? Well, guess what? The baddies in our movie just killed a bunch of birds. So how badass are we?
Right. Like if they had actually built a good like part of that story around it, then I would have thought, okay, here's what that means. But I mean, I guess it was just because they were close to the tunnel, because basically what I was reading about the local legend is that it's just a small local legend that there's supposed to just be lights in the sky that people have seen over and over and over again. But
there's a lot of small local legends like that. I know because I based part of Saucerman from Venus Against Hell's Beauties on another small local legend about seeing weird lights in the distance in the wilderness. So, in a completely different area. So, yeah, these things just happen. Mostly it's trains.
Rocky Horror. There's a light at the old Frankenstein house. That whole song, like, that's what it made me think of.
I thought you were comparing it to Rocky Horror because that extended segment where the dad starts cross-dressing. Wait, no, that's Leprechaun 4 in space. Damn it!
I think so. This was the other movie where I had a question of the day for all of you.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, what would you guys have done? Would you have turned around and gone for gas, or would you have kept going?
I would have turned around and gone for gas.
At that point, I'd have been like, yeah, fuck this road.
I know where I'm going.
Well, no, here's the thing.
You're probably going to run out on the way back, but at least
you're that much closer to the gas station. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. I'm going to fucking nuke this entire hypothetical question with, I never would have gotten off the highway in the first fucking place.
Ding, ding, ding. Hence,
also,
don't go through the fucking TomTom GPS.
Also, what the fuck are these people doing going from one campsite to the next where you have to drive, like, apparently 100 miles to get to the next campsite?
Where you're at.
What kind of family vacation? Yeah, it's just, you had a campsite, just stay at that campsite. Why are you going to a different campsite?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just wanted to go campsite across country. I mean, like, people
Fair enough.
Do that.
Yeah. Well, the point being, they didn't establish that. They're just like, now we're going to a different campsite for, like, no reason. And we don't know where it is. And Dad's going to be a super dick and go, like, ultra, like, stereotypical male and be like, I don't need no map or gas. I'm just going to keep driving.
Yeah, they didn't really establish that much in this movie about anything. But I could buy going from campsite to campsite and it being far away.
I could too. Yeah.
I did live in Georgia, so, like, I've done that before. I've actually done that before. So, like, I know they could be too far away. But
I
you're
could
right.
too, but
They
but
really
just
didn't
like a single
establish
line, like they took the time to be like, we're going to a different campsite now. They could have easily taken the time to be like, so this is what our, because they even say like, this is what our family is doing. We're going out into the mountains to camp, and they're like, now we're going to a different campsite. It's like, well, you're already doing the thing you said you were going out here to do. Why are you going to a different campsite so far away?
Yeah.
They could have instead established it with like, we're doing a cross country camping road trip and it's gonna be great, yay! Like that would have been fine. Like I'd have been like, okay, I got you, yeah, solid.
Yeah, they definitely don't establish much. But the reason why I asked that question is because I was hoping you all would say something similar, because I was like, I would have turned my ass around so freaking fast.
Congratulations, we're
And
all
if my
rational human
husband got-
beings.
If my husband got threatening toward me about the fact that we didn't want to turn around, I would have been pulling that Jersey Puerto Rican attitude, but like, I'm grabbing the wheel and I'm crashing the whole fucking car and we're all dying.
Baby
Let's
on
go.
board this motherfucker.
Pretty much. But I felt like
15 years of marriage therapy down the drains and off the cliff.
And again, for the fact that they don't establish anything, I mean, I could see kind of where they were going with like, it could have been like that whole alien trance thing and attracting like a moth to a flame, where like the closer and closer you get to this particular tunnel, the more and more like unlikely you are to do something, or the more and more nature falls apart, the more and more he was falling apart, and it was playing on all of their emotion. I get it, but you didn't do it right.
Oh yeah, it didn't come across like that at all. It just came across as, okay, dad went from 0 to absolute fucking douchebag on a dime.
When they came up in that tunnel, my notes were exactly, take some fucking gas from the accident cars. Yo,
Yeah.
It might not be zombies, but you can apply one situation to apply a skill set from one situation to the other situations. And not saying that I would survive the zombie apocalypse, because I won't, but at least I know how I would attempt to survive. And there you go, Neff. I said, oh God, even aliens shouldn't move that quick. Jump scare number 2. Because I forgot what the first jump scare was, but there were about 3 for me in that one.
There were a few. There were a number of jump scares in this.
Yeah. And again, considering the whole Hitchcock way they were going for things, I really didn't mind that jump scare at all. I did say that I did want Riley to film all of the movies ever, because I freaking love him. Night fishing was a cool way to describe
that. That was cool.
Going for things.
Yeah, that was a cool explanation that I had not heard elsewhere. But I'm like, you know what? That's some hillbilly wisdom that I'm like, yeah, that sounds real good, buddy.
I think I said at one point, and I don't really know what I mean by this, so let me read it through. I hate that my immediate thought of him hearing Scott as found footage all in itself is, I don't know what I was trying to say. But it twisted my tummy for some reason. And the last part of the film was very, like, I feel like they attempted to do a lot of like found footage / alien movies, and again, it was entertaining because it was action packed and the aliens were really freaking creepy. It's just the story that didn't hook me as much. I liked watching the visuals, because that part of the movie reminded me of War of the Worlds, where they're, and why is it that a lot of alien movies do that, where they're all sitting in a basement of something? Like, the aliens can't find you if you're in a basement. Like The Hiding Family.
Here's the thing. There's no such thing as underground in space. Yeah. It just doesn't occur to them.
Apparently not, because that's where all of the families hide. Don't they do that in Signs too? Don't they hide in a basement in the barn?
Yeah, at some point they do.
Yeah, so like a lot of.
But Signs itself is also just like an homage to War of the Worlds, only taken from a very slice of life visual.
Yeah. Yeah, the dad can go to hell. I was mad that he was found, but Riley wasn't. Like, they took Riley.
Well, who knows? Who knows who came back? Because like they're like, oh yeah, it's the dad. So.
Well, all I'm saying about it is I don't know, but I'm mad that like Riley.
That the one person we saw come back was the dad. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, because Riley. Yeah. I mean, I get it if they kept him. I understand, because like he did the hillbilly guy did say that like you know, the whole night fishing thing. They're taking people, they're throwing them back. You know, it's some back. They're keeping some as bait, whatever. But I get it. Like, why wouldn't you want to keep Riley? He's a precious gem. I love him. But everybody else in that movie didn't need to survive.
Well, I'll disagree, but I disagree, but I'll get it. I still disagree, but I'll get to that when I go over it.
That's fine.
Kelly, you want to go?
Yeah. So I enjoyed the movie. I will say it did to me kind of feel like one of those like $1.99 Unreal Engine games you see on a Steam sale, but not necessarily. Like that doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just you kind of know what you're getting into. It's like junk food. It's satisfying, but it's not. There's nothing deep to it. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I mean, of course, I had my gripes with the family and the way their family phone plan and yada yada yada, but that's dumb. But let's see. I did enjoy the redneck guy's cabin. That was fun, and the beer can trip line that they set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I agree. I did like the scariness of the aliens. I would have liked to have seen them more, but I feel like it was a little bit for tension and also a little bit for budgetary reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But those were enjoyable, and the abduction themselves are just like the head up the ass thing. I'm like, oh wow, that's like probably the second worst one outside of the under the skin method. Like, but yeah. And I will say, oh yeah, that was a note that I had at an hour and 4 minutes. I looked and I was like, really? There's 20 more minutes of this? But that's because there was the whole like credits thing and the blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
I was like, all right, yeah, I don't care. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But then also the thing I thought was interesting is when the camera fell and you know the other kid finds it or whatever, and then you see in the camera it's like a CDC team picking it up. It's like why'd you need all of that? Like, you just sent some guys in a car. Like they could have put it in a box or something.
And how did they find it?
Right, like
they just had a team waiting. They're like, here it comes.
Yeah. Oh, there.
All right, bag it, boys.
Yeah.
Like, how did they know where to find this fucking camera?
Yeah, that was more or less my take on it. But yeah, it was fun. It gave the spooks and everything. And yeah, I definitely would have turned around for gas. And or the idea of siphoning gas, that also works.
Yep.
Because I would not want to fuck with that. Like even when they first encounter the aliens and the dad's like, "Go run!" It's like, no, fuck, all of you can run. Like,
yeah,
you're
we
not
all got legs.
Where you have to sacrifice yourself right now. Like, and then they get back and they're just like, "Where's Dad?" Like, he's gone. He's gone. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? We didn't see anything."
Yeah.
So that would be stressful. Oh, and also the gripe I had about the kid that was firing the one gun through the door. The redneck guy told him it was a 22, and it was leaving holes in the door about that big. That's horseshit. Those should be.
I have the same fucking note. I have the same note.
Teeny little bullet holes.
I have the same fucking note, dude.
Good. Okay.
I'm
not the only one who noticed.
I was like, yo, like, I get it. You're setting up the cool shot of seeing the alien eye through the hole. I get it. That's an awesome shot. But like at the same time, why'd you tell him why did you establish it was a 22? Anyone who knows guns are gonna look at those holes and be like, bullshit.
Yep.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad I wasn't the only one to point that out.
So there you go, yeah. I don't pick up on symbolism, but you get some gun shit wrong.
Yeah, you get some technical details wrong. It's like, bullshit, immersion broken.
But it was, it delivered on what I thought it would be. It was as expected. So enjoyable in that sense. And I get what you're saying with the found footage stuff and like establishing people. I never really thought about that, but that is something I'll definitely keep in mind for any other future like found footage movies I see. It's just like, how do they set up the people? Because it's like, we don't know them, but you should, I guess. You're filming them.
Yeah. So. And I think the best, because I'm trying to think of other ones like Frankenstein's Army. Like, there's not really like there's kind of a preamble of like establishing like what's going on and why they're filming it. But aside from that, like, you kind of just get a sense of the characters as it goes along by just seeing them do shit.
Yeah.
Which is usually just a good thing to do even outside of found footage. Don't spend 5 minutes just being like, and I'm Sally, and this is how I relate to the characters in this story, and this is going to be my single defining trait for the next 90 minutes. Just let them do shit and let their characters come out that way.
Yeah.
But for some reason with found footage, like, it seems like a lot of them fall into the pitfall of, like, okay, we have to establish who these people are, like, right up front, and, like, do an exposition dump weirdly and awkwardly.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that's more or less my my thoughts on that one.
Mm-hmm. So I will say, like, I enjoyed this one a lot more than I expected to enjoy it, because, I mean, it's a movie, like, literally called Alien Abduction. A direct-to-video horror movie called Alien Abduction. It's like, okay, this is gonna be some Sci-Fi Channel Saturday evening pure trash, and it wasn't. There was some good stuff in it. Like, yeah, the fast-paced action, like, was well done. It definitely kept the tension up. This is the other one where I made a specific note about a song featured in it. And now, from the hit soundtrack of Alien Abduction, Let Me Smell Yo Dick.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That whole cringy opening scene.
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about that. How did I not write that shit down?
Yeah, the whoever did that song paid the filmmakers a lot of money to have Smell Yo Dick prominently featured in the movie, and they went out of the way to make sure it was prominently featured. Gonna be a lot of griping about found footage mechanics and whatnot. Starting off with, I see 60 minutes of tape available, and there's an hour and 20 minutes of movie left. Which is followed by, like, okay, so we have moments where it's like, okay, maybe he's changing out tapes or something, or discs, or whatever the fuck this thing films on. But then that invites the question of, so the aliens chucked the camera and all the tapes out of the spaceship? Because they just say that they found the camera with all the footage on it, but there's more tape footage than should be on this tape. So how does that work? No cell service, but the GPS still has service. But at the same time, I think I rescind that one, because you're right. That was an old school GPS thing that has all the shit pre-downloaded into it. So
Yeah.
it's not relying on a satellite link up to give you updated information. Even though it still was. It was like redirecting at some point. So who knows? I feel like maybe they just didn't understand how GPSs work, and how that if there's no signal for a cell phone, there would be signal for a GPS. And even if it's because, like, the aliens are blocking the signal, like, why would they block one signal and not the other when it's the same signal, basically? Who knows? Oh yeah, because Mom made a Deliverance joke. Yeah, Mom has an issue with smelling dicks, but anal rape? That is wholesome family conversation. Dad went from 0 to total fucking dick in record time. Yeah, fuck that guy. In fact, the next note is, can Dad just get anal probed already? Whole shitload of abandoned, weirdly parked cars blocking the road. Huh, that's a little odd. Totally not something to be very, very concerned about. Like, their whole like, it was a great set piece. Like, it was a great creepy set piece. So I gotta give it some credit. But, like, their reaction to it was, like, so not natural. Like, they see one car and they're like, that's fucking weird. Okay, I don't see anyone. I guess maybe they walked to get gas. And then they come across a tunnel on this apparently very deserted road that no one ever goes down ever, but there's emergency vehicles and, like, a bus and minivans, and, like, there's like 30 cars littered down. It's the tunnel from 28 Days Later transplanted into the fucking wilderness. And they're just like, oh, this is just kind of odd. Let's go walking down this creepy, imposing tunnel. Nothing bad will happen at all. But did anybody catch the not in your face jump scare in the tunnel?
Yeah.
in the rearview mirror
Yeah.
with the alien looming in the
That was
background.
Jump scare number 1. Yeah. That was
Yeah,
jump scare number
dude,
1.
that
Not
one
the
was
other
real
the other
good.
one.
That
Yeah.
like I will give the movie kudos. Like that one was because it wasn't a boo jump scare. It was just put some shit in the background that's real goddamn creepy that like half the audience won't even see, but the
Mhm.
ones who do will take a minute to notice it, and when they do, they're gonna shit themselves. Like it was really good. Yeah, apparently this little road has nothing on it. Gets real fucking busy when you get to the tunnel. Is Dad dead? Counting it for now. Cause yeah, there's a lot. Like I have the kill count in this movie, I think at 1, and it's literally just for the crows because I don't like. I was counting them. I was counting all the abductions and whatnot as kills, especially once you actually get to see the abduction and you see Mom's body contort like a fucking pretzel. I'm like, oh yeah, they're totally fucking dead. And then you go up onto the ship for that brief window, and it's basically like the intergalactic version of Eli Roth's Hostel up there. And you're like, okay, some people survive the beam up process, but based on these screams and everything, chances are they're not coming out of this. So yeah, probably they're all dead. And then the fucking after mid-credits thing of finding the dad, I'm like, fuck you, movie. I award you 0 kills except for the crows, which I'm not going to count. You get 1 for all the dead crows. So the kill count is admittedly probably not accurate, but I blame the movie for most of that.
Yeah.
But I did wrestle with, like, my notes were literally, look, I've started counting animal deaths and all, but that's a lot of dead crows and shit. Like, so many. I ain't counting all these dead crows. And then that was immediately followed with, I should probably go back and count all those dead crows. I didn't. Spoilers.
No.
As previously established. Hillbilly Ray Ray's best character.
Yeah.
I really liked him. Smooth bit of voiceover work for. Oh yeah, okay. So this is another found footage faux pas critique. There was like a montage of random shots in the cabin as the family was talking about shit with one continuous audio track. How? If it's found footage, how? How the fuck does that work? No, the audio would be all chopped up and mangled. No. Just no.
I think this might relate to that, but I know Riley's closer to the mic than anybody else, but didn't it
Riley
sound like he was narrating the movie?
Well, yeah, Riley's voice definitely sounded like voiceover. I think that was just like it probably was like Riley's lines were probably recorded in post, would be my guess, and it just wasn't blended very well. Kind of like Bane's voice in Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
How that just felt like voiceover, even though he's standing right in front of you talking.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
The way his voice sounded.
Yeah, and chances are that probably wasn't even the kid we see on screen. That was probably an adult recording those voices.
Oh, yeah.
If I had to guess, and I would also probably guess that the reason why, like on the one hand, I agree with Neff making it so that the reason why, because that's the other caveat of a found footage movie, you have to come up with a believable reason as to why someone is continually fucking filming.
Right.
Like why they're not just putting the fucking camera down and dealing with the situation at hand when they really shouldn't be filming. And putting the camera in the hands of an autistic child is a really good way to answer that. However, I feel like it was also a means of having a child character in the movie without having to deal with the logistical problems of having a child actor on set. And especially like doing night shoots and whatnot, because like there's whole sorts of like kids can only work for a certain number of hours per day. And unless they've changed it, like they're not allowed to do night shoots at all. So I think that was also a means of working around that. And then on top of that, it'd be like, okay, well, he's also autistic and that's why he's got the camera. Which, it works. It definitely works. Again, seriously, Hillbilly John Boy is best character. Because every time he opened his mouth, I'm like, dude, you're gold. And then I just kept giving him generic hillbilly names or redneck names, and then they finally reveal his name, and it's fucking Sean. Like, Hillbilly Billy Joe's name is actually Sean? Fuck that. Let's see, what else? Yeah, after the montage, I noticed there was a lot of other, like, real movie, like, non-found footage movie cuts interspersed within the found footage stuff. Which it kept taking me out of the immersion of what a found footage movie should be.
Right.
Yeah, there it is. Those are some big ass bullet holes in the door for it being a .22 rifle.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this is just me asking if a character is dead and then counting it for now, just for my previous, like, to potentially edit the kill list later. Let's see. Camcorder overlay is a nice touch, but honestly, I feel like there wasn't a lot of consistency followed with it. Mostly just a flourish of, hey, found footage, but actually looking at the information it displays just raises more questions. Like the fact that the camera had no battery life for, like, a long time.
Yeah. It only comes up at one point. And then about it again.
Yeah, like 20 minutes before the end, it's like, oh no battery life, camera's gonna die soon, and then, like, it continues to survive and keep recording for, in real time, many hours, because, like, it was still the middle of the night when that started flashing, and then it cuts to morning and it's still flashing, and they've done a bunch of other shit.
Or video, or digital, even if it was digital. What about
it's
the
still
video
battery?
life?
Yeah, no, well, the video length. Here's the other. Yeah, the video length was inconsistent as well. It actually is straight up inconsistent. Because once I noticed that and started paying attention to it, there was a shot where the time left on the tape was 24 minutes. And then a few, like, the next scene that overlay popped up, it suddenly had 26 minutes left on the tape. And then went back to 24 minutes with no battery life still on the camera.
And I'm sorry, even if they had even attempted to explain that away with, well, like, obviously they said in the beginning, like, this is how he's expressing himself.
Right.
Like, he's not putting the camera down for this reason. Even if they tried to explain, well, he keeps extra tape on him, he keeps up extra battery on him. Bullshit. When those were after them and they were running around, kids lose things all the time.
Yeah, they didn't.
Lost that damn,
they didn't. Yeah, and again, if there were multiple tapes, sure, but then the aliens would have had to have shot the tapes out with the camera.
Yeah.
And they would have had to find both, and they didn't establish tapes, they just established camera. And you never really, like, it's never addressed. It's just like, it's found footage. It's some magical camera that has an infinite number of tapes. And it would have been solved fine. Like, just don't put the fucking overlay on it. Or if you do, like, pay more attention to it, for God's sake. Because, like, it's a little thing, and I could forgive anyone for watching the movie and not picking up on that, but I really like found footage stuff, so I'm a little harsher on it. I'm a little more critical and, like, paying attention to see how well they do it. So you put an overlay up for a camera up. I'm gonna look at that information and see if it checks out. It's the 22 thing. It's the 22 rifle thing, right. Only with cameras. I'm gonna look at that and see if that checks out with realism, because you're going for realism.
I know it was supposed to be found footage, but I stopped buying it and just started watching it towards like an entertainment thing from the beginning, because first of all, they were outside of the atmosphere from what I can tell. So when that camera started coming back in, wouldn't it have just burned up as it's falling through?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And then it survives an impact with the ground from the, assuming it can survive re-entry through the atmosphere, which, yes, that's another thing to point out of, like, really? Then it hits the ground at full, like, Mach 10 speed, and it still works. It's just the lens is a little cracked. Really?
I shouldn't say I gave up on that. I pulled, okay, I'm going to use a suspension of disbelief here, because is very blatant. It didn't even make a dent in the ground when it fell either. So like,
No, yeah.
again,
But
that's
it's
why I started watching it for more
Oh,
entertainment.
it's that sort of thing that like pulls me back from the like because I love to I love to just like not even just suspend disbelief, just evict it from the building, please.
Yeah.
But the movie's got to meet me halfway, and when it starts doing stuff like that, which kind of breaks the illusion, it like takes me out of the ability to suspend my disbelief. And then I'm like, there's another way you fucked up. But all those things aside, like taking all that away, like it did still like once it got going, it did still have really good tension. The aliens were really creepy. I didn't like it did rely on a number of jump scares, but they only really started getting annoying towards the end. So like a lot of them worked, and I'm like, okay, that was it's a jump scare. Fuck you. They can't all be expensive scares. Some of them have to be cheap scares. I get it.
Right.
But it was still well done enough that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll give it to you. And then we get to the very end with the 1 year later bullshit, and I'm like, oh god. Dad's not dead, and he got sent back. So, like, nobody died? No deaths? God damn it, movie. So yeah, that was, like, they revealed that the dad got returned, which is in line with, again, what Hillbilly Jonah Ray said earlier in the movie, where they're night fishing, some they keep, some they throw back. But for the purposes of me chronicling deaths in movies, it throws that completely off the rails, because I'm like, I don't know who's alive, I don't know who's dead. Clearly someone else from the family has already been sent back, because they're like, oh look, we found the dad.
Right.
Which means they found one of the kids, presumably, at least. Because they didn't even say, oh, there's the husband, they're like, there's the dad.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I don't know who's alive. I don't know who's fucking dead. As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, they're all still alive. The only people who died were the crows, and they're not even people, so they count as one death. And then they went into the whole credits sequence of showing off all the documentary style footage they filmed, because they were like really proud of that apparently. So much so they showed it twice, a lot of it. And at that point, like, yeah, I was with Kettle. I'm like, yeah, I really don't give a fuck about this. Just let the movie end, man. Like,
Right.
Like, this is an entertaining, like, spooky, creepy alien chase movie. Like, there's a really good creepy alien chase movie in there, but then you got the front of it, which is documentary shit and annoying family shit. And then you got the end of it, which is annoying documentary shit.
Mm-hmm.
Trim it, cut 20 minutes off of this movie, and it's actually, I wouldn't say like really good, but entertaining. It'd be an entertaining sit, and for the most part, it's still like I was more or less entertained by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where I disagree about the people being sent back. If anyone's getting sent back, it should be Hillbilly Sean. Because that guy was great.
That's true. That's true. And I discounted him, and I really shouldn't have, because I love him. I love that he was waiting for his brother to come home, and I wanted to meet his brother, because I was like, if he's so great, I want to see what his brother's like. Could it end up like Merle and Daryl? Sure, but whatever. And he loved his dog so much, but the movie producers didn't, and they just stopped caring about the dog. But he was genuinely happy to see his dog return.
Mm-hmm. He simultaneously felt like the most scripted character in the movie, and yet still somehow the most like real.
Yep.
Like the most genuine character in the movie.
Yep.
Even though like it felt like every single line he said was like 100% scripted and not real at all. But I didn't care, because he was great. And I will say, like hidden nuggets like within the movie that I would actually like to see a lot more of, and would have been happy if it was like the full focus of the movie, is this alien spaceship, which is apparently just a fucking intergalactic hostel where they just beam people up and then torture the shit out of them. That's really creepy and fucked up. Like, I would have liked a movie about that. That focused wholly on that, or like explored a little bit more of what was going on up on that ship, because it wasn't good. Like, that was a horror show of a ship. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Alien Abduction.
It wasn't good.
It was all right. Like, again, I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. And again, going off of Fish's point of like, if you ignore the inconsistencies in like how badly they fucked up making it feel like a good, genuine found footage movie, like if you can look past that, like there is still entertainment to be found, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Action horror.
Yeah. All right, so I guess now we get to the points.
Oh.
So you're saying, now we get to the point.
Now we get to the yeah.
In 3 hours.
Well, for 3
Let's get to
hours,
the
but
point.
there's something I forgot to mention. It's kind of like a core mechanic. So
Yeah.
let me just get into that real quick. So yeah, let's go. I'm gonna integrate the audience participation thing hopefully a little bit better in future months. This month I just did a test poll on Twitter, very close to the start of the month, which was just dumb. So I didn't realize at the time you can only set a Twitter poll for 7 days, and by that point I was too far into it that I'm like, fuck it, let me give it a try. But we did get some audience participation votes, so those are going to get factored in.
Cool.
No surprise, faculty won the Twitter poll with 7 votes. Fire in the Sky got 2 votes. Under the Skin got 1 vote. Alien Abduction got 0 votes.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either. Let's see. Oh, I got it. Yeah, that's right. I got to update Fire in the Sky because there was a dead guy in that. So. That's that. Okay, cool. So, for our static points, which are... Oh, God. Why are you taking forever to save? Okay, thank you. Our static points, we have expanded that. It's not just kill count and sex count anymore, because hardly anybody fucks in movies, I've realized. We now have kill count, nudity count, drug count, alcohol count, and sex count. It's expanded, which means I'm going to have to go back and rewatch all the previous movies to get more accurate counts, but that's fine. Fire in the Sky had 2 static points, 1 death, and 1 nudity. When he comes back down, you see a little DB Sweeney ass hanging out there in the rain. Faculty had 6 kills. That may not be an entirely accurate number, but at least 5 human / parasite deaths and 1 dead rat. 3 counts of nudity. I'm counting nudity as from individual scene segments. So you see alien chick's ass in the pool, and then her standing in the shadows, and then her walking through the aisles. That's how I got to that number. Drug count of 4. We see 4 people do illicit substances in the movie. A lot of illicit substances being handed out and stabbed into people's extremities and faces and whatnot, but only 4 people actually did the drugs. 2 people consumed alcohol. That was the history professor pouring the whiskey into his coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we see him pouring it in and taking a sip, and then later on you see him taking a sip, and it's obviously alcohol infused. Under the Skin had a kill count of 10. Wait, 10? Hold on. Oh, yeah. That's right. Because 9 plus 1 dead dog? Wait, what? Was there a dead dog?
Yeah, drowned.
Oh, right, yeah, the dog that... Yeah, sorry, Fish. Didn't mean to bring that one back up.
Yeah.
A nudity count of 13, which is no surprise. A lot of hard dicks and naked Black Widows in that movie.
Yeah.
And an alcohol count of 1. And a sex count of... Well, actually, you know what? If she doesn't have a vagina...
There was still attempted sex, though.
I'll give it a 0.5. I'll give it a half point for attempted sex.
Attempted sex.
I mean, I've been given... Leprechaun 4 had a half point for it. I think Idle Hands had a half point for attempted or interrupted sex. You got to get clever with the sex counts because so many times people just fail to seal the deal in these movies. And then Alien Abduction, I'm giving them the 1 kill count for the crows, and then 2 alcohol counts because we saw Hillbilly Sean drink a couple beers.
Mm-hmm.
So Fire in the Sky 2 points, Faculty 15, Under the Skin 25.5. Wait. Should be 24.5, I think. Which means that should be that. Hopefully I did that right. I'll redo the math afterwards and make sure it's right. So, now we get to our own individual categorical picks. I guess I could go first, since I'm the first on this line. So, best kill for me was Under the Skin, because Gooey Boy Go Pop was real fucking creepy. Best character. I mean, you got a better way of describing that shit?
That's hilarious. I love it.
Best characters, The Faculty, because that movie is just all about character. Needs improvement, Alien Abduction, for, I don't know, some reason, probably because overlays, shitty family dynamic, whatever, crappy fake documentary footage, I don't know. Comfiest movie for me was The Faculty, because I've seen that movie so many fucking times. It's definitely one I can just put on in the background and chill out to. Scariest movie, Alien Abduction, because of all of them, that was probably the one that actually managed to creep me out the most times. Most disturbing movie, Under the Skin, because what the fuck even. Sleeper hit, actually The Faculty, which I had to go back. I had to think back to like the first time I got to watch The Faculty, and I remember going into it not really knowing what the fuck it was gonna be and coming away loving it. Like, so it snuck up on me and I came away loving it. So that's got to be sleeper hit for me. Best writing, The Faculty. There's a lot of great lines in there. And even though the story is very familiar and takes a lot from other things, it takes a lot from other things that I also really like. So, best special effects, The Faculty. There's a lot of good stuff. The practical effects were really good, and even the CGI still really holds up, I thought. Like, it's definitely bad. Yeah, it's definitely like you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's CGI, but like it doesn't look awful.
Right.
It looks like it has presence in the scene that it's in, as opposed to just being pasted in there. And then most entertaining, The Faculty. I went hard into The Faculty. Ranked movies, number 1, The Faculty. Number 2, Under the Skin. Number 3, Fire in the Sky. Number 4, Alien Abduction. And then for our themed monthly categories, we got Ranked Aliens, which number 1 Alien, Under the Skin, because, like, come on, is Scarlett Johansson, though. Number 2, The Faculty, because they were all super cool and weird. Number 3, Alien Abduction, because those aliens were very, very scary. And then number 4, Fire in the Sky, because they were also creepy, but like the aliens in Fire in the Sky kind of just seemed like the kid brothers of the aliens in Alien Abduction. Like, they were kind of weird and freaky looking, but kind of small. And then Ranked Abductions, which number 1 for me was also Under the Skin, because, like, yeah, that was some weird, fucked up, creepy shit as hell abductions. But at the same time, it was occasionally highlighted with naked Black Widow, so that was cool. Number 2 is Fire in the Sky, because a whole lot of that movie is just small town drama, but when the alien abduction actually gets shown, it is some of the creepiest shit ever, and it still sticks in my mind from 1993 to this day. Number 3, Alien Abduction, because Making people go snap, crackle, pop is always fun to watch. And number 4, The Faculty, because there wasn't really a whole lot of abduction going on. Like, there was invasion of the body, but, like, the people were just there.
Okay, see, in my mind, that was the abduction, so that... Well,
I
that's
could
how
see,
interpreted it.
I could see you getting there from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that assessment, even though I didn't subscribe to it myself. But yeah,
Right.
I can see.
Whereas
getting
even then,
there.
I'm sitting here looking at my
It's
rankings
valid.
now. This happens every month. I'm like, am I sure about this? Like,
I mean, if
I'm
you
not
want
going
to
to
change
change
stuff,
anything. No, I'm not going to change anything.
okay, you are free.
Nah,
You
fuck
and
that.
everyone
I
else
don't
is
want to
free
waste
to
time
do so.
recalculating either. So,
No, fair enough. So my final point totals: Fire in the Sky got 11 points, The Faculty got 48, Under the Skin got 37, and Alien Abduction got 17. Neff.
So I have best kill is Under the Skin. Again,
Gooey Boy Go Pop.
yeah, Gooey Boy Go Pop. Best characters is The Faculty. I mean, it's just they were all really well written, in my opinion. Like, yeah, it was one of them stereotypical '90s movies, but I felt like it was good. Needs improvement, Alien Abduction. The comfiest movie was The Faculty. Like, I wasn't scared throughout any of that, but it definitely was comfy to watch. Scariest movie was Alien Abduction. Cause yeah, it got me. The other ones really didn't. Like, they unsettled me, but they didn't scare me. Most disturbing movie was Fire in the Sky for me. Because just like his flashbacks and whatnot, they're just so creepy.
Yeah, Fire in the Sky was a close contender with Under the Skin for most disturbing for me. Like, it was a juggle.
Sleeper hit to me was Under the Skin, just simply because, like, I feel like it's actually pretty good and people should watch it. Best writing was also Under the Skin for me, because when I think of writing, I don't just think of like dialogue. I also think of like how I envision that, like, the script was created, and I felt it was very well done. Best special effects was Under the Skin for me. Because I mean, all of it was really cool. Just like the her walking. I think my favorite thing is just like the visual effect of like the guy sinking, but she continues just walking on top.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was badass. And then the most entertaining for me was The Faculty. And then are we doing our ranked stuff yet?
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah, I just did mine.
Okay, so ranked. So the best movie for me was Under the Skin, followed by Fire in the Sky, followed by The Faculty, and then followed by Alien Abduction coming in at last place. It was hard to, like, between Fire in the Sky and The Faculty, but I felt like of the Alien movies, the ones that like legitimately made me feel like uncomfortable about alien abductions and like actually gave me a sense of horror. Fire in the Sky went out, and I just couldn't put Alien Abduction in anything other than last place. Like, I was like, it certainly does not trump out these other movies. I can tell you that much.
Should I spoil it?
Huh?
Should I spoil it?
Well, I mean, I think that like we should go through.
Okay.
First.
Okay, I won't spoil it. Ranked aliens. Neff?
Oh, ranked aliens. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Where's my sticky note? So ranked aliens. Number 1 was The Faculty, because I just found the little worm things cool coming out of their skin. Fire in the Sky was really cool because, like, while you never really get a lot of interaction with them, I think I like the anonymity so much that, like, yeah, you see one of them, but who knows if they all look like that, and like, it freaks me out. And I also like the thing where, like, you see their spacesuit,
Yeah,
and that's stereotypical, and then you see the alien itself, and it's like, it's kind of still stereotypical, but not. Sorry. Not to the degree of.
Oh, you made me do it.
Oh no!
Like little green men with the almond shaped eyes and the oversized head.
Right.
And then 4 Under the Skin, because honestly, like, it's just a person in a people. It's just an alien in a people suit the entire time. For the most part, yeah, you get that black alien, but like, And then abduction rating.
Yeah.
So abduction rating 1 was Under the Skin. 2 was Alien Abduction, because fuck that. Purely based on the bone crackly experience. Fuck that. I don't
Listen,
wanna be
I've been
right
trying to
next
pop my back for like 2 weeks. Like, come beam me up, motherfuckers. Like, let's
Yeah.
go.
3
Cheaper
was
than a
fire.
chiropractor.
Right. 3 was Fire in the Sky, because, you know, it's stereotypical, like, abduction. Nothing special,
Yeah.
but nothing weird. Or nothing special, but not horrible. And then the Faculty, because in all honesty, like, they take over their bodies, but they don't actually abduct them.
Right.
They don't actually take them from the planet into their spaceship. They become their spaceship. Oh, that's really cool sounding, actually. That's really cool sounding, actually.
Never mind, the Faculty goes to the top of the list.
No, they still haven't been abducted, but I did like that realization that they do not actually take them to the spaceship. They become the spaceship.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go. There be my picky picks.
Alright. Fish?
So best kill the Faculty, because while Goopy Boy Go Pop is pretty cool. I mean, like, I thought the kills in the Faculty were pretty cool. Like, the whole bubbly, the almost rabid, blowy up stuff that they do were pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Best characters, the Faculty. Not just because I knew all of them, but all the characters in there were pretty great, even bitchy Jordana Brewster. Needs improvement, Alien Abduction. Comfiest movie for me was the Faculty, because I mean, like, how could it not be? I've only watched it 1,000 times. Scariest movie to me, honestly, was Fire in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
It scared me the whole damn time I watched it, both first and second time. Even though first time was a blur. Most disturbing, definitely Under the Skin. That just was a movie made to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sleeper hit, Under the Skin, because when I first was going into it, I'm like, sure, it's going to be great because it's Scarlett Johansson and I absolutely love her, like top one of my favorite women. But it really turned out to be one of my favorite movies. Best writing, though, I thought was Fire in the Sky, simply because of the way they wrote the dialogue and how, like, real it was made to be felt. And I thought they did that really pretty well. Best special effects to me was Under the Skin as well. And I don't know if we can, I mean, because it's not all because of her peeling the skin off, but that whole thing with Scarlett Johansson's face looking up at the alien's face and actually, like, comprehending and eye movement and everything like that. Like, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That shot to the top for me. Most entertaining to me was Under the Skin, because I was locked in. I was entertained. I was also very disturbed, and just, again, I loved it. So it's no surprise that for my ranked movies, that was at the top.
Yeah.
Even above The Faculty, which I love. Fire in the Sky was third, because I did, the second time I watched it, realize that I actually pretty much love that movie. And Alien Abduction, only because, like I said, it's an entertaining movie, but it's not, like, I felt like it was outside of the rest.
Yeah.
Ranked Aliens, Faculty, because, again, while it fucks with my mind to have not know who is who and who you can trust, things like that, it's also a really good way to hook me into a movie, because I'm just, like, so horrified I have to watch. Under the Skin, I thought, was a great one, because she was so predatory, like, that it was amazing. Fire in the Sky, because I love those aliens. They were cute. And then Alien Abduction.
Because they weren't cute. They were gnarly and mean.
They were, if I had gotten a better look at them, I probably thought they might be cute because I mean, like aliens, like the way people like portray aliens, like the typical alien, not like what you
Mhm.
see in Aliens, but like the typical alien has those the big eyes or the big round heads, and it makes them look more doll-like, and I love that. Or I know.
Like a doll
Um,
size.
or rather like it's the same thing that Disney does with their drawn characters, like they give them those big eyes to better like
The better to
bring
see
out
with.
bring out the instinct
Expressions.
of I need to take care
Yeah.
of this. I love it. I need to take care of it. And then Ranked Abductions, Under the Skin won out because she was just so and again, yeah, you're right, it might have to do with the serial killer thing. Like I was just like so attracted to that story. Not that I'm a serial killer, guys, I promise you that. I can't even step on a lizard by accident.
She can't even eat a bowl of cereal,
No, I can do
let
that.
alone
No,
kill it.
but literally last year I stepped on a lizard by accident and my life was ruined for like ever. So I don't even want to talk about
Oh my god.
it.
You brought it up.
I know, and I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone. Fire in the Sky, second best abduction for me because it was the most out of what I would have expected as an abduction, but at the same time, it was still really creepy. Even Alien Abduction ranked higher than the Faculty on that one because Alien Abduction, like they literally got abducted in that crinkly back cracky scene again. Totally what I hate. People shouldn't move like that, but obviously they were being abducted. And I thought it was cool. They kind of crunched like hands.
They're crushing the doll boys.
Yeah. It was like, hey guys, look what I can do in one shot. Hold
The
my
aliens
arm
are
here.
drunker than we are.
And then the Faculty, because they weren't abductions. They like barely came across as abductions because even a parasitic invasion is still an abduction of a body. You're taking that body away, but at the same time, it's like Neff said, they weren't really abductions. They towed the line because they were kind of just like they were still human. Like there was that human nature that was still attached to them.
Right.
So, and I'm done.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Best kill, I had Alien Abduction because head up ass abductions was both creepy and funny to me. Best characters, the Faculty, because it just has everybody, and Jon Stewart and Elijah Wood. Like I just really enjoyed that. Needs improvement, Alien Abduction for obvious reasons. Comfiest movie, Fire in the Sky, because creepy abduction aside, like that little town was nice, and I want to hang out with that late night motel desk guy.
Yeah.
Scariest to me was the Faculty, because just being taken over by a parasite. Ugh, don't like it. But the most disturbing for me was Under the Skin, because the popping and the overall weird creepiness of all of that in the dark room, and sleeper hit, the Faculty. I thought it was gonna be I don't really know what I thought exactly it was gonna be, but I liked it a lot more than I was anticipating. Best writing, the Faculty. I enjoyed all that. But best special effects, Under the Skin, like the dark room, the pop, just all that. It was very, very well done.
Like, I didn't like anything else about that movie.
More or less, yeah. I mean, but it freaked me out in that regard for sure. And hard peen, that's a special effect.
Yeah, there you go. That's the specialist effect.
Yeah. And then most entertaining, the Faculty, because it was most entertaining to me.
No.
For ranked movies, I have The Faculty, Fire in the Sky, Under the Skin, and then Alien Abduction. for
Didn't
my
like
ranked-
it still beat out Alien Abduction. Get
because
wrecked.
it was still better done. Like,
Yep.
and it had it like I'll give credit where credit's due. Because I was judging on like what on that it was more of a like was it well done?
Was it a well
versus,
done
like,
movie? Yeah. I feel you.
Ranked aliens. I have The Faculty, then Fire in the Sky, then Under the Skin, and then Alien Abduction. And I think the reason my thought behind having Alien Abduction was the bottom was just because you didn't get to see him as much, and I wanted more of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I get that it also kind of adds to the creep factor as well. It's a little of both.
Mm-hmm.
And ranked abductions. This I think I went from like what was creepiest to me. So number one was
Yeah.
The Faculty, because just being like possessed by a parasite thing, not
Mhm.
great. Then Alien Abduction, then Under the Skin. Those two are kind of tied because they're both awful and you're dead.
Mhm.
And then Fire in the Sky, just because like yes, it's creepy, but at least he came back. And shit, he presumably had a normal life after a couple of years, so
Yeah.
not too awful. Yeah, that's my picks.
Cool. So now we reveal the points. Coming in at fourth, which should not be a surprise, Alien Abduction with 70 points.
Not
Coming
surprised at all.
in third place with 80 points, Fire in the Sky. Second place with 169.5 points, Under the Skin. And first place with 187 points, I believe. Let me check.
187.
That is a new high score. New highest scoring movie. Yeah.
Shit.
The Faculty.
job, Kettle.
Which means Kettle has won 2 months in a row. He can't keep getting away with it. We gotta bring our A games next month.
Idle hands. I knew what I was picking.
Yeah.
The Faculty was just like, well, shit, it's aliens. I don't want to see it. So
He accidentally a win. Listen, I don't know, man. There's just 3 boys left, and they just happen to stroll right in front of my machine gun. I don't know how I keep wiping teams.
I don't know. Beats me.
Yeah. So yeah, Faculty for all-time scores, the Faculty comes up to the number 1 spot with 187, beating out Grabbers with the 185. Under the Skin also came at Under the Skin it was the battle of 2 titans this month.
Mhm.
And I without Kettle's votes in, I was like, I think Under the Skin might fucking win it. But it still got
Then
real
I just had
high.
to come in and be a fucking
A spoil sport. You're like, I hate this
dumbass.
artsy fartsy
Being like, well,
bullshit. Fuck it.
It didn't beat me over the head with it. So
Yeah.
like, yeah.
But even so, it's now in the 3rd place overall with 170 points, which is still like that's why like Fire in the Sky and Alien Abduction got the 2 lowest scores. They're at the bottom of the list now with 80 and 70 points, and it's because the Faculty and Under the Skin soaked up all the points from everybody. But congratulations, Kettle.
Was gonna win.
I mean, that was the easy favorite from the start. I'm like, motherfucker, pick the Faculty. How am I supposed to compete with this?
Well, whenever I was also not expecting this and not expecting to have to pick another fucking category, so it might give me a couple days.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just a pick. Like, you know, I'll try to pick something shitty next month. Like,
Yeah, there you go. Pick another Maniac Cop, please. Give someone else a chance.
That's why I've gotten so many points the last 2 months, is because I sacrificed myself for Maniac.
No. It's well earned. The
Yeah.
Faculty is a very good pick. I could have. That's how you know that I genuinely like the Faculty more than I like winning. I could have easily have sandbagged the Faculty. I gave the Faculty a lot of points.
Yeah.
I might have. Wait, let me see. I might have given it more points than you did, Kettle, or anyone else. I think I gave it more points than anyone else. Let me see. Oh no, you gave it more points, but slightly. You gave it 55 points. I gave it 48.
Okay.
But it was up there, pretty high for both of us.
Yeah.
So yeah. So next month's theme to be determined.
Yes.
We'll let everyone know when it gets picked, and then we'll start picking our flicks based on that. Thank you everybody for coming back and doing this again. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time. And now I understand Under the Skin a lot more, so that's nice. Mission accomplished. Next time I'll come for the gold. But yeah, I think we're gonna take a break. Are you guys still feeling Warzone?
Yeah, I can play for a little bit. I definitely need to take a little bit of a break and just kind of.
Oh, for sure, we're breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recalibrate my brain, because once we hit about 3 hours, my brain's kind of like.
For sure, yeah. And I'm trying to keep these under 3 hours, but we get talking, and especially like I get off on tangents and rantiness and.
Look, I mean, it's better than not having enough content. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'd rather look at the time at the end of it and be like, 3.5 hours. It's a little long. I'd like to get that down. Then look up and be like, okay, we've been talking for about 45 minutes and we're done. That's a little crazy. Might want to beef that up a little.
Yeah, I think the 2 to 3, somewhere between there is.
Yeah. That's what I try to go for. But at the same time, it's unscripted, so it's so hard to know.
Yeah, there's that too. But yeah, good times, and I'm down for a bit of Warzone. I'm just gonna step away for a few minutes, but yeah, I'll be back in a little bit.
All right.
Okay.